Binance agrees to pay $4.3 billion, and their CEO has pled guilty to violating money laundering rules and has stepped down, claiming, quote, "I make mistakes and I must take responsibility." Now, in exchange for a king's ransom and the king's head, the DOJ is expected to settle their criminal investigation with Binance. Some think this is the end for the world's largest crypto exchange. Others believe it's a glorified speeding ticket that's a net win for crypto. But what should you believe? It depends on how much you trust Binance. Let me explain. First, context. For the past year, there's been criminal and civil investigations into Binance, with the SEC, DOJ, and CFTC all investigating accusations of Binance accepting U.S. investors while not being regulated, and then trying to hide that fact. Why would they do that? Well, according to their CEO, Changpeng Zhao, who I'll be calling CZ, quote, "If we block U.S. users from day one, Binance will not be as big as we are today. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission." So, money is the answer to why they did something illegal. It's always the answer, right? This is because, as CZ claims, 20 to 30% of Binance's potential revenue was from the US market. So no wonder they kept US investors. But after years of no control, CZ eventually acknowledged the risk of allowing US customers. He says, quote, "We do need to block by IP and also know your customer." Now, this might seem like a step in the right direction, except for a critical decision. CZ maintained a subset of valuable US users on Binance. Basically, they kicked off the broke people to look good, but conspired to keep their high-value clients, quote, "contacting US VIP users offline through direct phone calls, leaving no trace." The VIP team would allegedly register a new separate account for an offshore entity while the user transferred their holdings to the new account. So it would look like that person was no longer from the US. According to CZ himself, the company had to be very careful to skirt the line using careful language. Quote, "We cannot say they are US users and we want to help them. We say we miscategorize them as US users, but actually they are not." So that's bad. But it actually gets worse. See, the new filing from the DOJ shows these problems extended beyond the US to Binance outright allowing money launderers to move money through their platform. One compliance employee even wrote, quote, "We need a banner. Is washing drug money too hard these days? Come to Binance. We got cake for you." What? An example of this was when Hydra, a popular Russian darknet marketplace, transferred $106 million in Bitcoin to Binance.com and laundered their money through it. But not only did Binance have little to no money laundering controls in place, even when illegal funds were found, Binance would make special exceptions for their VIPs. In one example, a user was told to be careful with his flow of funds, especially from darknet like Hydra. He can come back with a new account, but this current one has to go, it's tainted. But what is the point of flagging money laundering if you're just gonna tell the guy to start a new account and try harder next time to not get caught? And I bring these issues up not just because they're pertinent to the settlement, which they are, but also because these issues demonstrate a problem Binance might have moving forward. Setting aside for a moment this $4.3 billion fine, part of this agreement is the expectation Binance is gonna stop these illegal activities, clean up their act, have an independent compliance monitor for 3 years. But you have to ask yourself, was Binance so large and attractive to crypto people in spite of its loose money laundering controls, offshore, unregulated status, or was it because of it? What percentage of Binance's revenue vanishes overnight with increased scrutiny? I don't know the answer, but it certainly isn't zero. And speaking of challenges Binance faces, now let's put the $4.3 billion fine back on the table, which itself is a problem. Can Binance afford to pay it without dipping into customers' funds and becoming insolvent? Well, once again, it depends on how much you believe Binance. See, Binance regularly publishes a proof of reserves, which shows they have customer assets backed one-to-one and billions of dollars on top of it. According to those, yeah, it's a drop in the bucket. But proof of reserves don't fully show liabilities, causing people to call for a full audit for years now. But each time, it's met with a less than satisfactory response from their CEO.
Thus far, you haven't disclosed your liabilities, and I wonder why that is and whether you will.
Yeah, so we are working with the firms to do the audit of financials, liabilities, etc. But the audits don't reveal every problem. So
No, but an audit from a
audit
Big
firms
Four
that are
auditor
kind of-
would reveal that, CZ. If you could
Right.
get a Big Four auditor to say that, if you're saying that some of them don't want to work with you, that raises questions too. They don't want to work with you because you don't have the files and the data that would make them feel comfortable signing off and giving that stamp of approval?
Actually, many of them don't even know how to audit crypto exchanges. They don't really when they audit, they're very used to auditing a firm.
Does
No
Coinbase,
banks
CZ?
give
Coinbase has a
100%
Big
proof of
Four.
reserves.
Coinbase has a Big Four auditor?
Actually, I don't look at Coinbase. We don't really look at
I think
other.
so, though.
Now, hold on, wait a second. Or you're saying you can't get an audit, but then refuse to acknowledge that your competitors are working with auditors? That's a red flag. And it's pretty clear, look, we just don't know the full story. And I don't bring this up like as a boogeyman to scare you for no reason, telling you there's a monster under your bed, maybe. You know, it's something you legitimately need to think about if you have money on Binance. How much do you trust Binance is telling the truth and trust them with your money? It's ultimately up to you. For me, I've always told you guys, keep your money off these exchanges because what you don't know can hurt you. Just listen to Binance's CEO answer questions about his company's ability to pay steep fines earlier this year and ask yourself, does he sound confident?
Would you be able to
$50 million.
handle it if somebody asked you for $2.1 billion back? Would that be okay? Would you be able to still withstand things?
We're financially okay.
Including you have $2.1 billion to give away. If somebody came to claw that back, you'd still be fine?
We'll let the lawyers handle it. We are financially strong.
Honestly, the right answer is yes. We're financially strong is just not good enough. It's literally one of those answers that means nothing. And by the way, the real fine is double that. So especially in light of that large layoffs at the company earlier this year, I'm personally not optimistic about Binance's future. Although, as I said, without a more detailed look at their finances, maybe from an auditor, we can't know for sure. But whether or not you're personally optimistic or pessimistic, I think there's one thing we can all come together and learn from on this story. Questions, concern, skepticism of a company, it's not FUD, it's basic due diligence. And the crypto industry has a troubling trend of pretending otherwise. Earlier this year, CZ started dismissing FUD, fake news, attacks, with the number 4. Like, he would just post pictures of himself whenever there were problems at Binance and just do this, as if it magically warded off problems. So to see that same guy less than 12 months later pleading guilty to charges, it has a level of embarrassment that I've almost never seen before. I say almost because technically I saw this piece of media on The Most Humble Billionaire the day before that, from the same guy who also made the Sam Bankman-Fried puff piece. And it's definitely worse than this. So as we put CZ on the wall of shame, joining many other crypto people, I want to leave you with this wonderful piece of cringe. And as always, thanks for watching.
Hey, this is the richest guy in the world from crypto, and you don't even know him.
Hi, my name is CZ.
He made over $60 billion, but his mom still called him stupid. Let me tell you his incredible story.
Jay Mazzini has left the internet. This is his Instagram, or was his Instagram. You can no longer find it. Either it was deleted, he deactivated it, but this is a gigantic win. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coffeezilla. I am the internet detective. Today, we're talking about Jay Mazzini and reflecting on the fact that all his stuff has sort of been taken down by himself. By the way, it seems like, from what I can tell, I think he just deactivated it. And I'm not even going to say he's going to be off the internet forever, but at least for now, he can't scam people. It's a huge win. Listen, I'm not a fan of people taking their channels offline. I'm not a fan of canceling people, and I didn't cancel Jay Mazzini. I showed what he was doing, and he decided that he didn't want to live on an internet where people knew that he was scamming people. But I never said, hey, go shut this guy's channel down. I never said, hey, go get this guy. No, that's not what we're about here. We're about shining a light, and if you decide that you don't like the look of what you're doing on the internet, that's a bad thing that you should reflect on. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I think that less scammers online is a good thing. And to be clear, Jay Mazzini, it's the worst type of scammer there is. There is a whole spectrum of the fake guru world, right? Some of it's very gray, and I would argue, like, you couldn't really call it a scam, but you might say, it's just not worth the money to me. Like, a lot of people sell like a $300 course, a $500 course. And you know, if there's value there, but I just think it's overpriced, I'll say, yeah, don't really love that, whatever. Then there's stuff in the middle where it either doesn't do what they say it does, or it's like really high price, they're pressuring the upsells. Like, that's bad. Usually that's either they don't have the expertise, or it's just like putting people in the hole and they're not getting results. Then all the way over here is the Jay Mazzinis of the world, where they're telling people, hey, come, I'll trade you Bitcoin or whatever. And they're just taking money. They're just basically just theft. I don't know another word for what you might call that. But yeah, when you're just taking people's money, they're not getting anything. They're not even getting like some crappy course. They're literally having their money taken, never returned. And that's disgusting. And that, I can draw a hard line in the sand and like say that society needs distinctly less of that. In reflecting on the Jay Mazzini saga as it winds up this chapter, and we don't know if there's going to be another chapter, I think it's important to know that a lot of life is like this, okay? This is Ponzi schemes explained in the simplest terms, and just watch it, because if you're falling for this stuff, you haven't learned your lesson, okay? This is what it is, basically. Put something in a dark hole you don't understand. Oh, look. Oh, it's a magic machine. Well, it worked one time. I'm going to throw everything in. Halal Capital? I'll throw all my money in. Oh, they gave me more money. Okay. I'm going to put my life savings in this thing. So he throws everything underneath. What do you think's going to happen? This is what you guys do with these influencers who have no background, whatever. Then it's, yeah, you're done. They run. They shut down. That's like a great metaphor for Jay Mazzini shutting down his Instagram. He could flee the country right now. Nobody would have any idea. This is something I'm telling you guys. Learn from other people's mistakes. It's very sad, and we feel terrible for the victims who this happened to. But you don't have to have the same thing happen to you, okay? This channel is about informing people so they don't suffer the same mistakes, the same kind of... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special episode of Coffeezilla, where we'll be roasting the worst startups of all time. And we'll be answering the age-old question, does everything need to be redesigned from the ground up? Should we ever stop and think, not can we build this, but should we build this? Has Silicon Valley just gone too far? We're going to answer all those questions in this video, but before we do, this video is actually a partnership with our friends at Mischief. You guys may remember the name. I featured them on an episode of Marketing Mondays. Anyways, long story short, I guess being a sycophant can get you somewhere in life, mom, because the Mischief team actually called me the other day and told me they wanted me to review one of their drops. I said, I'm in. I'm so excited. And how much am I getting paid? They said nothing. Okay. Slightly less excited, but you know what? I freaking love this company, what they do, so I'm in. A day later, they sent me this. Their never before newest drop. Okay, relax. It's just a box, right? To give some context, if you know how Mischief works, they call themselves an art collective, which is like a fancy way of saying they're a company that's bad at making money, which technically makes me an art collective too. And Mischief's whole thing is that they do a new drop every 2 weeks, never the same drop, and they can be about anything. And this is their 50th drop, which they call Dead Startup Toys. And it looks like from their website that it's basically an homage to all the iconic startups. You can see these terrible products are in heaven now. I already recognize a few of them. And yeah, basically they took the products themselves and made miniaturized versions of them to remember them by. Because let's all be honest, a failure as big as Theranos will never be truly forgotten. And in conjunction with this launch, they wanted someone to roast these startups, and they picked me. So let's open this guy up. Let's start, baby, with the Juicero. Maybe we should just check out their marketing real quick and remind people what the Juicero even was.
Making juice is easy. Start by taking a stroll down to the neighborhood farmer's market. Buy about $50 worth of organic fruits and vegetables. Don't forget to bring a tote bag. Dig your juicer out from the back of your cupboard. Realize there's still a part missing.
Okay, I think I know what they're getting at here. Making juice is annoying. So, okay, you've told us the problem. Now show us what the solution is.
What is this?
It's a Juicero.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that word means.
It's
What's
a new
Juicero?
word.
Okay, define it for me.
Juicero, the best juice ever. What comes out of the Juicero is so fresh that it shouldn't even be called juice. It should just be called, I don't know, squashed produce, because that's what it is.
You know what we call liquid from squashed produce? It's juice. What?
Our founder, Doug, is straight up made of juice.
Literally, there's juice in my veins.
There's juice in my veins.
I would have known this thing was a fraud from the start. Anyone who goes, literally, there's juice in my veins, that person cannot be trusted. Promise you that.
The Juicero team have taken care of everything. Not just the washing, the peeling, and the chopping, but the growing, the harvesting, the washing, the refrigerated transport, the inspecting. Did we mention the washing? The packaging. And finally, delivering to your house.
Okay, so actually, here's the thing. You watch this commercial, even now, knowing the ending of Juicero, and you're like, damn, this looks nice. So what's the issue, right? What was their problem? Well, basically, they over-engineered themselves to the max. They have these like smart packets, which you can see on screen right now, with like chopped veggie products in them that you supposedly needed this fancy $400 like machine from the future in order to squeeze. This thing right here, you put your little sustenance package in there and it just squeezed it for you. But the problem is, you didn't actually need it. It turns out you could take these little packets yourself and squeeze out just as much juice into a cup as the machine could. Like, look at this. This is the hand squeezed one, and this is the machine squeezed one. Basically, yeah, $400 to get a drop more of juice in your cup. And honestly, at this point, I mean, I'm looking at this and it's like, oh, this is just pre-juiced juice with an extra step. Like, if you're just going to squeeze juice from a bag into a cup, why not just buy, like this? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so that's Juicero, guys. And here's the little miniature version they sent me. It even opens up to reveal the legendary juice packet, guys, that you definitely should not be squeezing, guys.
Wow.
Up next, we have the coolest cooler. Let's take a look at the ad that got them $13 million on Kickstarter.
That's the sound of a cooler coming down off the shelf. It's the sound of imminent fun. So why haven't cooler designs changed in almost 50 years? Boring coolers are boring, break easily, and are a pain to get to and from your destination.
Okay, so I already know what the problem with this device is going to be. It's the biggest problem with Silicon Valley in general. You're always trying to reinvent everything. Like the classic Silicon Valley person, their big idea comes when they're sitting at their desk and they have a pen and they go, the pin hasn't changed in 300 years. I'm gonna install Wi-Fi in it and change the world. Like, no, we don't need that. And we also don't need a cooler redesign here, guys. But this young founder doesn't look like he's about to take no for an answer.
I wanted a cooler that was really well built, yet had so much fun built into it that I would look for excuses to get outside and enjoy it. So I created the Coolest. The Coolest is a complete redesign of what a cooler can be. First, you've got this 18-volt rechargeable blender. You don't realize the number of places you could really go for a blended cocktail or smoothie until you've got a blender built right into the lid.
All right, I'm not gonna lie, that's cool. They also said they had a removable Bluetooth speaker.
Coolest comes with a removable Bluetooth speaker that connects to any smartphone to wirelessly stream music from up to 30 feet away.
They also said it's got a USB charger in it. Okay, this is where it's starting to get really weird. You're trying to design a Swiss Army knife cooler. It's like installing HDMI ports into your tire. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you can do it. It doesn't mean you should do it, right? And that's this whole product. It's just way over engineered for a basic cooler. It's got LED lighting. It's got tie down bungees. It's got reusable plates. It's got a knife. It's got a removable divider. All told, this thing probably assembles like a Lego set with 1,000 different pieces you have to assemble together. And it turns out, well, it was a little harder to manufacture than they originally thought. And these Kickstarter backers ended up waiting years before they got their product, with a bunch of them never getting it at all. Basically looks like this guy just got $13 million for nothing. Actually, I shouldn't say nothing. They actually got investigated by the Oregon Department of Justice. So that's something to put, a little feather to put in your cap there. So yeah, I'd say that is well deserving of the award here of one of the top worst startups of all time. Or Kickstarters in this case. Oh, look at this thing. This little comes with wheels and everything. All right, this is nice. More functional than the actual thing. Anyways, that's it for the coolest cooler, I suppose. Up next, we have Jibo, the assistant that is not Amazon or Google and is probably going to fail immediately. Cause of death, price, and non-functionality. Let's take a look at their marketing.
This is your house. This is your car. This is your toothbrush. These are your things. But these are the things that matter. And somewhere in between is this guy. Introducing Jibo.
Right off the top, I hate the listicle where you're telling me what's in my life. This is your house. This is your car. These are the things that matter. Your family. Here's a $900 product that doesn't matter. A robot that nobody asked for to spy on you all the time. Yo, dude, if I wanted somebody spying on me in my living room, I'd just ask Alexa. I mean, why do I need this? Please explain it to me. Go.
The world's first family robot. Say hi, Jibo.
Hi, Jibo.
When was this made? Oh, it's 2015. Yeah, this is like in the tech optimism world, back when we thought robots were going to help us instead of displace us. You remember those days? Good times. Now, it seems like they're going to definitely be bringing on the apocalypse.
Jibo helps everyone out throughout their day. He's the world's best cameraman. By intelligently tracking the action around him, he can independently take video and photos, so that you can put down your camera and be a part of the scene.
Jibo, take the picture.
Bruh, best cameraman? This photo's overexposed to hell. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's a hands-free helper. You can talk to him, and he'll talk to you back. So
Grandma's carrying him around everywhere he goes? And what is he like spying on what her recipe here?
You don't have to skip a beat.
Excuse me, Anne?
Yes, Jibo.
Melissa just sent a reminder that she's picking you up in half an hour to go grocery shopping.
Excuse me, Anne, I can't let you do that. I can't let you leave this house for your safety. I guess this is a robot that's going for that, like, almost humanistic natural feel, which I don't know about you, I don't like. I don't like this, like, robots are your friend thing. They're not your friend, okay? But anyways, who cares about this marketing? What's the point? Well, it promised to be able to, like, do all these things, and it got there and was basically dead on arrival. I mean, the functionality was extremely limited. It was $900 compared to Amazon Sweatshop, which can crank out Alexa for like $1. And just in general, it was just outcompeted in every single conceivable way. And again, even with this image, I'm just like pissed off. Like, what are you setting Jibo down at your dinner table? You're going to hang out with Jibo all the time? I don't get it. I don't like it. A bad idea. This is the same kind of thinking that got us here, where we're mass producing Sophie, the strange, uncanny valley robot to solve human loneliness. But anyways, here's our lovely Jibo toy here. Oh, that's kind of cute, right? Look at that. Does this thing work? Like, is it voice activated? Hey, Jibo, order me an Amazon Echo on Amazon.com. About as useful, this toy, as the actual Jibo, and considerably cheaper. Up next, we have the Theranos Mini Lab, ladies and gentlemen. Long awaited. I knew this would make it. This is an all-time great. It was supposed to revolutionize the industry of, taking vials of blood. Instead of taking whole vials, you're supposed to just get a drop, and magically this little black box device was going to tell you everything about your family history and, your vitals. Anyway, let's take a look at their marketing they put together for us.
People don't even know that they have a basic human right to be able to get access to information about themselves and their own bodies that can change their lives.
I want information about your body. Gosh, that voice is so creepy. I want information about your body. It may change your life. What the heck, dude?
Every person should have the ability to get that type of test, because if you understand that early that you're at risk, there's a lot more that you can do about it.
I really hate to do this. It's such low-hanging fruit. She's creepy, though. We make fun of Zuckerberg for seeming like a robot, but this Theranos lady looks like a body snatcher, even despite her running one of the biggest frauds of all time. Because Theranos, it didn't work. Like, spoiler, the thing sucked. It didn't work. And they actually took vials of blood from you They told you that they were only going to use a drop and they used the vials as backup, but they actually ran the test by just using like regular blood testing. Their whole thing was a fraud. But it has been so overshadowed, not just by me, but in the press, everybody, by Elizabeth Holmes herself, which is quite the feat to overshadow a $1 billion fraud with how weird you are. you know, hey, I ran one of the biggest frauds of all time. But the headline is like, chick changes her voice for absolutely no reason. And a bunch of other weird stuff about her like personal life. Like apparently she just lied to everyone about everything. She got a Siberian Husky puppy and told everyone that it was a wolf and took it into the boardroom where the dog just constantly peed on everything. And she told everyone, oh no, it's a wolf. And people are like, that looks like a husky. Anyway, the point is, pathological liar, weirdo. Apparently she bullied people and just created a mythos for herself that is even bigger than the fraud she perpetuated, which, I mean, hats off to you for that. That is hard to do. So yeah, guys, that's the short and long of it about Theranos. I feel like you guys have already watched 20 documentaries about this. You don't need for me to explain to you what was a fraud about it. Okay, here we go. Here we got the toy. Okay, it's a toy. You get the gimmick, guys, right? You get the thing. It's a little collectible. Now for our next and final startup we're gonna roast here today, we have the one laptop per child laptop thing. Apparently they had $60 million in funding and have since gone the way of the mini lab. Now this idea, I actually think, much like the Juicero, is not a bad idea on paper. It was billed as an $100 laptop that was going to save the world. How? By giving hungry children internet. How's it going to do that? Well, because there's no electricity in a lot of these places. Well, these geniuses, they thought of everything, and they designed a hand crank that these kids who are bubbling with free excess energy can crank to turn on and power their Reddit accounts. What's hilarious about this product is that when they actually unveiled it, it was sort of like a Cybertruck moment because these hand cranks broke immediately.
He wants you to wind it or something. Oh, no, I wouldn't wind it. I wouldn't wind it.
He's winding it, and then, he broke. He tore it off. Turns out when you're going to build something for $100, the materials have to be pretty cheap. So they kind of scrapped that idea and go, okay, no, we're going to redesign it from the ground up. These kids are going to charge that with the power of their mind, I guess. And so they redesign it into this form factor where the antennas are like Wi-Fi, etc. The only problem is they originally had built it at costing $100 and everyone got stuck on that price point. Turns out it's kind of hard to build anything tech-wise for $100. So they failed. And the repitch is like, this is the $150 laptop. Yeah, that didn't go so well. And people quickly outcompeted them with like new netbooks and Chromebooks and all that kind of stuff, which actually had Windows on them as opposed to, they had some weird operating system here. So yeah, a very like tech optimist kind of idea. We're going to give all the kids internet, we're going to give all the kids laptops that was met with the actual price of goods and also was crushed by expectations that they themselves set. And that was actually, I think that's a reoccurring theme in this whole thing, right? All of these things, they set up expectations that simply couldn't be met, and or they over-engineered, over-promised, and ultimately under-delivered. But yeah, okay, let's unveil the last one. Oh, it's kind of a larger one. That's cool. Oh, dang, that's actually a lot of detail. Huh, look at that, like flips out and everything. Oh, nice. All right, that basically does it. Big thanks to Mischief for partnering with this video. And now I'd like to actually review maybe not the startups themselves, but actually the things they sent me, which are these toys. So who are these actually for? Because they cost money. It's like $40 for a single toy, and the collector's bundle is $60. So kind of, it's pretty pricey. And I would say that like, these are not for everybody. I think there's a very specific target audience. Number one, for collectors who like limited time edition things. They only make 550 of them ever. And if you also love watching the hubris of mankind burn itself out, you'll probably like this. But the other people, the other target audience, And this, I'm actually going to tell to mischief. I mean, honestly, I think the real target audience to buying these things is actually venture capitalists straight up. Like, I don't know if that's who mischief is imagining as their target audience. And they gave me no strings about like what I could say. So I'm just going to review this honestly. Like, I don't think most people need this, but if I were a founder or I had a company out there and we're trying to innovate, I would buy every single one of these toys, buy them all up and give them to every new founder or member of Y Combinator, because that's who these lessons need to go to. It's not your average person, working in the back at Jimmy John's. Like, you're the backbone of this economy. You didn't ask for this, right? Like, you don't need this in your life. The people who need this are the people who are trying to install voice assistants into everything, into a pizza box, into a coffee cup, right? They're trying to reinvent the wheel. They're thinking they're Steve Jobs while they burn through $1 billion in capital. They need these little toys on their shelf to remind them of how far too far is, right? Like, for those people, $40 or $160, that's a bargain, right? You're going to save money with this thing. Like, hey, I was going to try to install geotagging inside of a paper straw, but then I saw Theranos and I was reminded, by this little desk toy that humanity probably doesn't need that, right? Like, boom, $1 billion in venture capital.
Welcome to the Property Investors Crash Course! How many of you here you want to become financially free? Ready to hand that
Felt like very much, I would even go as far to say as kind of like a religious cult.
You're taking people's money, but you're not giving them the services you've promised would happen.
If they hadn't have encouraged him, then maybe he'd still be here.
Hey everyone, welcome to Coffeezilla. Today we have a special episode. It's a little bit solemn, as you'll see, because we're talking about a very serious situation, and that is of Danny Butcher, his family, and Samuel Leeds and the course that he sells. Before we get into everything, I just want to say for a second that I've been talking for a very long time about the predatory aspect of fake gurus, of wealth creation courses, and that they pander to people who are in desperate situations, and that often leads to very bad circumstances, which these gurus like to ignore, they like to gloss over, and they like to pretend doesn't exist in their glossy testimonials and avoidance of, frankly, their students that do not perform. We've talked to Garrett, who lost $26,000 on this program. We've talked to Anthony, who lost $50,000. We've talked to people who lost $20,000. We've talked to people all across the spectrum of losing everything from $2,000 to entire life savings. But today we're talking to a family who lost the most important thing of all, which is the life of Danny Butcher. He took Samuel's course, he got in debt, and ultimately he took his own life. So with that, I want to welcome the people who bravely came on the show today. Obviously, this is very tragic, so I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with me about it. Today we have from, I guess I'll go right to left, we have Carrie, we have Glenn, and we have Alan. Carrie is Danny's sister, Glenn is his brother-in-law, and Alan is his father. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
So I guess we'll start at the beginning of the end, I guess, which is when Danny started his course, or maybe a bit before that. Danny served in the military, from what I understand.
Correct.
Can you guys kind of walk me through how everything happened? Because this is sort of the ultimate tragedy, and tell me from your perspectives what happened with Danny.
Okay.
Well, Danny has obviously a son. He's only just got married 11 weeks before he died. He was trying to progress so he could buy a place, earn some decent money for him and his wife and his son. He just wanted to be able to provide decently for them. Not be a millionaire, not be greedy, just wanted to be sitting comfortable for them and have something for them. that's all he wanted. That is literally all he wanted. He had a few problems with the debt before, but when he went on the course, they were saying, you know, we can get it where you can pay off all your debts. You can end up where you're earning lots of money, lots of properties, and go from there. So he thought, oh great, I can pay these debts off. I can find a home for us. I can provide for my family. And when he went on these courses, he didn't get what he promised. He was promised.
The thing is, it wasn't about greed or anything like that. Danny was he was a reserve, so he was off with the army every now and again, which was more with the army than it was civilian life. But he was lorry driving at the time, and he started doing some internet browsing, and he heard about this Samuel Leeds and his courses.
And
And
for
he
everyone
thought,
who doesn't understand, Samuel Leeds is one of these guys, you know, promising fast success with a course. And in his case, it is a variant of what they're all promising, which is wealth. And he was offering a property course. Is that correct?
yeah, he was offering property course education, basically, about how you can go about things. And Danny thought he'd done right in due diligence, as they call it, but there was nothing to say on Trustpilot at the time that this particular bloke had problems with his students. So Danny thought he'd done everything correct. He wasn't expecting overnight wealth or anything like that. He even said to me, this is a 15 to 20 year thing he's got in mind of doing. And then he goes in 100% to everything he ever did. He always put 100%. And he basically believed what they told him. And in the end, he's realised they weren't giving him the training. They weren't giving the mentorship they said they would. And he actually wrote a story about it, his involvement with it, which is, anybody that's even thinking about it should read Danny's story, and it'll tell you exactly how these things just go wrong. You don't get the one-to-one mentorship or anything like that. And that led on to other things that caused Danny's biggest problem, which was he ended up in a position where he couldn't get an house for his wife and kid.
Right. So talk me through that. So he's taken the course. He's optimistic. He thinks he's done his due diligence because on the internet, it's actually surprisingly easy to manufacture social proof and hide criticisms. And so he thinks he's done his due diligence. So he goes to this thing. He signs up. Do you remember how much it cost him to sign up for the course?
Glyn best take over from here because he actually went with him.
Yeah, it was, the course is £12,000 to sign up if you pay in full there and then. But Danny couldn't afford to pay the full price in one go. So he did it over a few installments. And because I went to the crash course with him, while we were there on one of the breaks, he went onto his banking app, managed to take out a loan from the bank to go and pay for the first installment.
So the first installment of paying for this thing, he's already in debt.
Yeah, he's already in debt with that. He then goes to the back of the room, which is where they ask them all to run to the back. You know, it's like apparently the first 50 there and all that lot. They run to the back of the room. He asks if he can still go on it and will he be able to pay for his next installment. He has to do a deal to be able to afford to do his next installment. To which he was told, yep, it's absolutely no problem. We'll get you sorted, get you a deal for your next payment, for your next, so you can pay your next installment of the course.
So he's already like needing, I mean, he's showing all the signs of someone who should not be allowed to join a course like this, that there should be regulations against joining a course like this, because the whole thing is that they say the whole logic is, well, you're going to make so much money in the back end that the cost of the course is nothing. That's what you're convinced to believe. But the reality is if you put yourself in that position, what happens if it fails? These people take the people selling these courses take no accountability for that.
Well, the other thing that happened was he'd gone to the bank. They knew that he'd taken out a loan to pay for the first installment. They never asked him any questions about whether he could afford it, but they also knew that he couldn't afford the next installment unless he did this deal.
Right. So they say, yeah, sign up. So he goes in that first installment. He's already in debt, and then he has to make this deal happen. So I imagine that puts him under an enormous amount of stress to try to make this safe life for him and his family, his new family. So what happens at that point?
Basically, after he'd signed up, he'd actually got, he'd been out viewing houses, he'd been talking to people before we even went on the course, and he'd got several deals that he could source and pass on and make some money out of already set up. I know we were told on the crash course that the deals could be put through Alistair's company. As far as I know, this has also been said online.
Yeah, because Danny wasn't compliant to do deal sourcing. So they said because he wasn't compliant, they could put it through Alistair's company, and then Danny could get paid out of that.
So basically, don't worry about the fact you're not compliant. We'll figure it out for you. We have a way for you to do this. Just
exactly.
Okay.
But of course, then what happens is they backtrack on that and say, no, you can only do that if you come along to another course and get yourself compliant.
So it's
more money. Yeah.
So it's just an upsell into something else. Now you got to pay more money.
Yeah,
exactly.
£12,000 wasn't enough.
No. So he lost them deals because he couldn't do anything with them. He lost them deals.
So he lost the deals. At this point, he knows now he's paid this first installment. He's gotten a loan. He's in a worse place than when he started. What's the date on this? When was this? Where are we at?
That was March when he signed up.
Right.
That was March when he signed up. The
Of
second lot of last year, yeah. Then he wanted to pay for the next lot of deals. He was for the next installments. He needed the deals, so he messaged everybody he could possibly message. Tried to get in with all the people that are with Samuel. He's messaged everybody. You know, how can I improve? What can I do? What about this deal? What about that deal? He's literally messaged everybody he can possibly basically say, I'm actually there and I want to progress. I want to do it.
Right. I want to put in the work.
Exactly. But obviously that deal never came along. So then his next installment, he had to get another loan out to pay for that. And then his third installment, he couldn't pay again. So when he went back to the bank, they said no, because he'd already got 2 loans out in such a short period of time. So his wife ended up having to get the third lot of installment out for him.
And in the middle of all this, he was supposed to go on the deal finding extravaganza course, where it says in the crash course that you're supposed to be guaranteed to get a deal by the end of the day. And he never did.
So that's just not true.
No, well, the second course, and it's not just Danny. There's quite a few people who've been online and said you go on the second course, and it's basically the same as the crash course, which is free. So they're really not getting any help at all. And I know
meanwhile, they're plunging into debt.
Oh yeah. So then they go back again, and they say, well, yeah, but to do that you need this course. So then he gets into the third lot.
And this is just lining Samuel Leeds' pockets here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the winner of this situation. So Danny goes, I believe he went a total of how much in debt during this process of becoming wealthy as he thought he was. How much in debt was he ultimately?
Well, when we've looked at it, he paid 13.5 because they charge you £1,500 for the privilege of paying in bits.
Right. So if you can't afford it, you have to pay more.
Yeah. And then
the irony,
because of the travelling round and everything he's done to the courses
and the hotel rooms,
hotels and everything else, it comes up to close 18 grand. £18,000.
£18,000. And
in the meantime, they was actually inviting him to other courses to help mentor other people. Yeah, exactly.
He was told to mentor other people, even though he's just plunged into debt.
He was supposed to help them get deals. And yet they wouldn't help him get a deal. But of course, he can't help them get a deal. He's not qualified.
Yeah, he in fact, I honestly, that makes me speechless. I'm actually speechless at that. Now, Danny at this point, he's just gotten married. He's got, I believe you said he has a son.
Yeah.
He finds himself going from basically the ground floor thinking, well, it can't get worse. Let me pull myself up and trust one of these people, and finds himself now in the hole, 18,000 pounds, no better off than he was before. And he just feels helpless. He feels like there's no way out.
Well, the worst thing about it is he's doing this all to try and make a home for his family.
Right.
Then to find that he can't get a home because now, obviously, he can't get a mortgage. He can't borrow any money to buy a place. He just don't know which way to turn now. And I think that probably, the penny was dropping because he wrote a story, and it's so well wrote. From someone who's dyslexic, you got to understand the grammar might not be great, but it's a hell of a story the way he's written it.
Yeah.
To total despair.
I think that I've heard this situation not just from Danny, but from multiple people about when they get in this kind of debt and all they wanted to do was get themselves out of debt.
Yeah.
That leads to despair more than just normally getting in debt does, because you feel like you've done everything you possibly can. And this ultimately brings us to October, I guess.
Yeah.
When did you guys first hear the news? Do you guys remember seeing signs? I mean, was he talking about being in debt in Samuel's course?
I spoke to him a couple of days before. I went and had a look at another. He was still trying hard. He said, will you come and have a look at this building, Dad? Because I've been a joiner. I've got some knowledge he might not have had. We went and looked at it. He didn't look well, but I still didn't think he'd do anything like that. And we arranged to meet on the Monday because he had another property he wanted me to look at. for other investors, right? So he supposedly was going to get paid from them for doing the legwork for them, doing the survey as such. Then on a Sunday, the police come to our house to tell us that Danny'd gone. So if you think about it retrospectively, the signs are there, but you just don't see it. You just think he was still. I spoke to him on the Saturday. He was driving home, and he was right upbeat. He says, "Oh, Dad, I've come to the conclusion. I ain't, it's going to take me a couple of years to get straight, but we'll be all right." And he sounded a bit upbeat, and that was on the Saturday. And then obviously Sunday morning he was gone. It's just that you just don't really see it coming. Everybody says, a lot of people have been in touch with us who either been in a similar situation or close to, and they've all said the same. You never see it happening. You never see it coming.
Do you think that Samuel Leeds knows what he's done?
He don't care about that, mate. He has got no. He's never once tried to contact us in any way to make any sort of in touch with us in any way, offer his wife any words of comfort of any sort. Just the opposite, really.
He didn't pay back the money Danny paid him.
No. There's things on the internet now where he is fighting a lot of people off for similar problems. He's going to court and all sorts.
Do you blame? I hate to cut to the chase, but do you blame Samuel Leeds? Because we'll never know for sure. But in your mind, you guys were so close to this situation. Do you blame Samuel Leeds for what happened to Danny?
Oh, blame the type of business he's running. Yeah, he himself is blind to other people's feelings. That's total. He's a narcissist. But I'd certainly blame his tactics of the way he runs a business. But it's not just him. There are a lot of people out there doing the same rubbish.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that my channel's built on trying to stop, is this predatory course selling. I say it all the time. I call it predatory because I believe it is, because it preys on those who are weak and vulnerable. And I think some people think that, oh, if you fall for that. But the thing is that it's easy to say, I wouldn't fall for that when you're not struggling, when you're not in debt, when you're not back against the wall. And I think this is such a because there's no regulation. These people can just kind of promise anything. They can promise anything and they don't get held accountable. So something that impressed me about, the response to Danny's situation, something that, obviously this can never be turned into a positive thing. But one thing that I saw in the fundraiser was that you guys want to see regulation happen in this industry. You want to see a change so that this doesn't happen to anyone else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been loads of people in touch with us. Some have actually said they was close to the position Danny was in, and reading his story actually snapped him out of it, if you like. There's another soldier, Andrew Hill, I believe his name, but similar thing, and he quotes exactly the same sort of thing as Danny told us that was happening. But there's thousands now involved. And that's really all we can do for Danny is push for regulation to stop this sort of scamming, if you like. I don't know what other word you would call it.
I like that word.
We've set up a petition to try and get it regulated, this kind of thing over here in the UK. That'd be nice if it went more worldwide, but we've set up a petition here to try and get it regulated.
I'll link that. What is the petition? Do you know the web address?
I can send it over to you.
That's fine. For everyone watching, it'll be in the link below. Is Danny Butcher's widow still in debt from this whole thing?
No.
Okay.
No, because thousands of people actually come forward and put money into a pot and paid it all off. Or what the bank has written off. So through the kindness of other people, they've put a zero debt. And that they weren't together when they were in that position. It would never have happened. We're really grateful for the sort of support getting.
I'm also grateful for that. Yeah, I didn't know the full status because I was looking at the fundraisers. I was trying to keep up with that as well. So I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, people stepped up, and this is such a tough situation for me because on the one hand, you want to honor the memory and you also want to inspire change. What tangible things can you guys see changing in the wealth creation industry, you might call it? Is it the promises? Is it the cost? What is it that you want to see change?
Oh, me personally, I'd like to see the content of the courses looked into, to see that they are providing what they're saying they're providing. Because from what I've seen that Danny got from Samuel Leeder's course, there was very little course content that hadn't been gone over in the free crash course that I'd been to. Now, I believe that people should be able to go in and see what they're actually teaching, pretty much like most education places over here do.
Right. Don't hide the one wealth secret or whatever they're saying. You have to be able to kind of back up what you're saying. Yeah, prove it.
Yeah, there needs to be a standard of the same as you go to university or a school. There's standards that they have to keep to. You go to university, you pay money, and yes, you have a debt, but you've received that education that should, with hard work, open up other doors for you. To pay for an education you don't receive is ludicrous. So with regulation, you can say, right, if you can't guarantee that you're going to actually show what education you're going to give, you can't operate. To protect people from, like I say, scammers, basically.
I totally agree. One tragic thing about this is that the victims of these scams tend to be poor. They tend to be they don't have like legislative tools at their disposal. If this was happening to a bunch of rich people, this would have been legislated out of existence a long time ago. But it feels like, especially here, I'm more aware of the American situation. A lot of times these people say, well, if they didn't like my course so much, why don't they just sue me? The guru or whoever will say that. And the answer is always, well, they don't have money. to do it, and you have to pay to sue. And they have all your money now. You're in debt. You don't even have any recourse to going after and getting your money back. I mean, what gets me is that you can sell a $12,000 course and have nothing to show for it, and you can sell to somebody who has no money to pay for it. That is mind-blowing, that you can put someone deep in debt who has nothing going right now, and you can promise them the world, and you're not held accountable at all. Now, is Samuel Leeds still doing business in the UK?
Yeah.
And doing it the same way as well.
And he's not changed one iota of his methods. In fact, he is under a lot of pressure at the moment from the internet, where, as I say, there are so many people come forward now since Danny's death, saying they've suffered the same thing, but a lot of people are embarrassed to admit they got ripped off, so they don't come forward. Well, since Danny's death, a hell of a lot of people have, and it is going to court with what they call a class action. That's a number of people. I don't know how you say it in the States.
We call it a class action as well, yeah.
All right, okay, so you know exactly what I mean. That's going forward, and hopefully that will go forward on other people who are doing the same thing. I hope people realise they don't need to be embarrassed. They need to stand up and get their money back, or get value for their money.
How does it feel to know that Samuel Leeds is still doing the exact same thing he's been doing, and he's still operating the exact same way? I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
That's hard to say on there.
Well, it just goes to show he has no remorse of what he's actually done, doesn't it?
I hope that someone who sells a course sees this and rethinks who they're targeting with their course. Because, I mean, I'll just tell you guys, I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen people admitting privately that they are targeting poor people. I mean, I've seen a lot of insane stuff. But to have this happen, whether or not Samuel wants to say that it's his fault, whether he believes that or not, but to have this happen with your course, and then to keep doing it, is unconscionable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's completely unconscionable. Well, I hope that you guys get the change and the justice that you deserve. Obviously, there may not be a way to get that perfect justice, but my hope is that Danny's, untimely end will have inspired change in this industry. I don't know what it takes to wake this stuff up, because like I said at the beginning, fortunes have been lost. I've watched people, their entire fortune is gone. What they saved up for years is gone because of these people, and nothing's changing. I don't know what it's going to take. This is it.
Yeah. Well, there's we've had an enormous amount of support from people in the industry, actually, but
That's
not in the scam side of it, if I could put it that way. One particular, Andrew Burgess, got in touch with us almost straight away, and he was the driving force of helping Danny's widow Charlotte out, and got people to put money together and sorted her, things for her financially, if you like. And he's also got masses of information on Samuel Leeds and quite a few others. He's quite knowledgeable.
I believe he's run a few videos about Samuel as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'll link a few of those below.
Brilliant. He's also pushed. We've started a registered charity in Danny's name, and that's to help over here, the homeless, veterans, and any of the what we think are deserving charities. So as we get money in, as a deserving charity comes up, we think we can help. And he's one of the trustees, along with myself and Carrie. So that's all the work in bringing that to be registered has been through him. He's been brilliant. Can't thank him enough, to be honest.
I'm glad you shouted him out. Yeah.
He's well worth being in touch with.
Absolutely. We'll be linking the charity as well if you want to send me that link, Carrie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I don't know, is there anything else you guys wanted to say? I didn't want to make this, super long. I didn't want to sort of belabor it. I wanted to get Danny's story out there, and I wanted to get the family story out there. Obviously, you guys are sort of his living memory. So is there anything else you guys wanted to say?
No.
No, just help us to get it regulated more than anything. We need it regulating. That's the be all and end all at the moment.
It's the only thing we can do for Danny now is to push for that regulation and hopefully stop anybody else getting to that situation.
And I'd like to just say thank you to you for allowing us to get it out there, hopefully even more.
Absolutely. I'm happy to do it. I know this has been a long time in the making. And yeah, I thank you guys for coming on. Thanks to all of you who are watching. Sorry that it was very solemn, but I think it's important as we look at this industry that we show the very damaging sides, the predatory sides of this industry. So thanks for watching, everybody.
Mark Cuban is being sued for an investment he calls as close to risk-free as you're going to get in crypto right before it all crashed.
I'm not trying to say it's 100% risk-free, but it's as close to risk-free as you're going to get in the crypto universe. Create an account using the promotional code MAVS100.
Well, that didn't turn out so well. It turns out now you can use code SUETHEMAVS at checkout to recoup your money. Now, is this a sure thing? No, but it's as close to a sure thing as you're going to get in the world of suing billionaires. Because fast forward several months after the Mavs jumped into this investment opportunity, the almost risk-free company Voyager declared bankruptcy and froze everyone's money.
More pain in the world of crypto. Voyager Digital files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection just days after the broker suspended withdrawals on the platform.
Now, I reported on this a few months ago, how Voyager disguised itself as a low-risk business and used misleading marketing to make incredibly dumb lending decisions that some people would call doing a 2008. Now, because of that, a class action lawsuit has just been filed against Voyager and Mark Cuban. It claims that they both promoted a Ponzi scheme that cost a lot of people money. So today we're going to dive into this lawsuit to figure out what's going on. So to begin, the first thing you need to know about this story is that this is actually the second class action lawsuit against Voyager. The first one happened almost a year ago. It's called the Cassidy lawsuit. The main allegation in this lawsuit is that it accuses Voyager of lying, which I know is a bit like accusing Ezra Miller of a felony. It's about as unsurprising as the sunrise, but plaintiffs accused Voyager of lying about claims of 100% commission-free trading. Voyager advertised that when you buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, there's no fees to do so, which obviously sounds very attractive until you realize that Voyager makes millions of dollars in fees despite having no fees. So how is that possible? Well, they make money on something called the spread. This is the difference in price of when you buy and sell. And this is how a lot of free brokers essentially work. Except in the case of Voyager, they had told people that they had a special technology saving them even more money called the Smart Order Router. According to their marketing, it identifies inefficiencies in the crypto market, which it then uses to, quote, get you a better price on your trades, which all meant, according to Voyager, they only make money when you save money. Unfortunately, this wasn't true. Allegedly, Voyager charges their users the highest premium on trades across all competitors. And quote, on all but one occasion, Voyager's prices were worse than whichever exchange they were compared to. So the only person this Smart Order Router was working for was really Voyager. And in hindsight,
It's not exactly surprising that Voyager was making money off trading fees, but it's how brazen they were about lying about it that was the problem. Voyager repeatedly advertised things like getting you the quote, most Bitcoin for your buck with images of Voyager checking multiple exchanges for pricing, but this is allegedly false. And that's what lawsuit 1 is about. Voyager lied, people died. Okay, well, people didn't die. People paid millions more than they had to. But then next came the bankruptcy of Voyager, which we know a lot about. Their lending team basically acted like degenerates on Wall Street bets and lost everyone's money on high-risk loans. And that all brings us up to today. Lawsuit number 2 with our boy Mark Cuban. The lawsuit basically says, hey, people lost millions, maybe billions of dollars because you said this was all close to risk-free, and it clearly wasn't. Now the plaintiffs are suing to recoup losses they claim are up to $5 billion, which I know sounds like a lot. I'm guessing this is so that they can negotiate later and maybe get a fraction of that in some kind of a settlement. But while there are a lot of things in this lawsuit that are similar to the first one, there are a few new things worth talking about. Firstly, it came out in discovery that Cuban actually knew about the first lawsuit, the Cassidy one. And apparently he even was worried about it or wondered if he should be worried about it. Allegedly, he contacted the CEO, Stephen Ehrlich, about it and clearly never communicated any of that or the risk to his fans. And the other big thing in this lawsuit is that it accuses Cuban and Stephen Ehrlich of running a Ponzi scheme where basically they were kept bringing in new people to pay for the other people until it all imploded. Now, I'll leave it to you guys to decide whether this was all a Ponzi scheme or not. But what I know is true is that Voyager definitely misled people, all the while claiming to be transparent and looking out for the customer, which to me is about as bad as it gets.
And so we're trying to make sure that we're so transparent about this. And transparency is really what leads us to trying to build, the next generation of financial services company is by being transparent about it. I'm sure if like Cred, if it was quarterly financials, some of the things that they're talking about might have gotten caught earlier. So it's important to us.
So yeah, it turns out they weren't transparent at all. And not only that, they used one of the most respected businessmen in the world to push their misleading claims onto millions. This is especially ironic given how Cuban talks about how the goal of this partnership is education and financial literacy.
It's the education that we want to bring education.
The education of education.
Education. Teach the youth about financial literacy. Financial literacy. Financial literacy. Financial literacy.
Well, I guess it is fair to say that investors got an education, just probably not the one Mark Cuban was talking about. The whole irony here is that Cuban is always pushing the same trash that he's ranting against. Like on the one hand, he'll call metaverse real estate the dumbest ever, which to be fair, might be true. But then on the other hand, he turns around and gets caught in scam after scam. And at some point you have to ask yourself, when does he become responsible for what he says? Especially when he's one of the most recognizable businessmen on the planet, thanks to Shark Tank. I mean, when Mark Cuban speaks, for better or worse, and he is a terrible crypto investor, people still listen. So it's sad when he says things like this.
There's a lot of ways to inexpensively start to get an understanding. And it's a lot easier than even opening up a savings account. It's a pain in the ass to open up a savings account, particularly for your kids these days. There's so much paperwork. And, whether it's yourself personally, someone you're trying to teach your kids about personal finance, believe it or not, this is actually a better way. And so that's one of the unique opportunities and why it's not too late.
That's right. Why fill out all that boring paperwork at a bank when you can lose all your money instead for a valuable lesson in personal finance? Of course, I'm hoping that if the fans actually win this lawsuit, it's a lesson in personal finance that Mark Cuban won't forget either.
Are you serious?
Okay, I think we're live-ish. Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, looks like we are live. Guys, welcome to another exciting one. I've got really happy that we were able to put this together on such a short time frame. If everybody can hear me, go ahead and hit 1 in the chat. If everyone can hear audio, why don't you say something real quick, Evan? Thanks for coming on, by the way.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here and finally be able to confront these accusations that have been laid on in the past.
Sure.
Coffeezilla here has been the first person with a face who stood up against it and said something. So I'm very happy to hear and rest the concerns for once and for all.
Okay.
And hopefully I can add some value to everybody's time while they're here. Hopefully you guys get to learn something, and hopefully I can inspire you.
Awesome. So, yeah, I want to start with just a very basic thing. And I feel like this is not controversial. This isn't meant to, get you or anything like that. But I think one thing that I look for when I'm looking at entrepreneurs, stuff like that, is credibility and honesty. I think that I think you'd agree. If you lie, you lose credibility, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's a lot about being authentic.
Absolutely. And so I feel like that's a lot of the conversation that we're about to have, is that there's kind of a tale of two Evans going on. I think there's one side, which is like the stuff you'll see on, Forbes, all these these press sites where you're kind of the king of coding apps. You've been doing it since you're young. You're a successful investor. It's very polished. It's very whatever. Then there's this other story coming out from what you would classify as haters, right? And that say that, most of this is funded by your father's money to project an image of success without being the real thing. And so for me, deciding which of those to believe, and I think for my audience, what we have to look at is which of these two cases, of these two tales of the two Evans that we see on the internet, are more credible. I think that's like a good place to start. So with that said, let's just kind of jump into some of the allegations or accusations, whatever you want to call them. So let's start with, I think, the biggest maybe meme that's come out of this, which is Steve Jobs, okay? Tell me the full story of Steve Jobs. He's your mentor?
Before we get to the question, I want to say I agree with you. You're pretty smart. You got a good grasp of the situation. What's really happened out there is, there's a lot of misinformation, and nobody can control it. Today we sit in a world where the internet, which has given me everything, internet has made me what I am, right? I built all my businesses, most of them on the internet, but the internet is also a tool which you can spread a lot of misinformation through. So that's what has happened. So there's boon and there's bane. And I think it would be great to come to some conclusions and be able to give some more clarity around these questions and these allegations have come up, starting with the Steve Jobs topic.
Okay.
Your question was, is he a mentor, right?
Yeah, and just tell us the story with Steve Jobs.
So basically, to tell you the story with Steve Jobs, it would be good if I could spend a couple minutes in the background.
Well, first, was he your mentor or not? Let's just answer that question with a yes or no.
I think I would like to say yes.
Oh, he was. Okay.
I mean, if you look at the internet is my mentor, right? You don't have to talk to somebody all the time to consider them your mentor. I would like to believe that the internet has been my biggest mentor, right? I learn a lot. I learn a lot from a lot of people I've never talked to, but I've seen their videos. I've learned from them, and I would consider them my mentor. So, because I've learned from them. But as far as actually communicating with him and talking to him, that only one call happens. There's only one call. There's only once he actually talked to me. But that does not mean I can't learn from it. I can't be inspired by it.
This seems like a little bit, I mean, I want to be respectful here. We just started, but it seems like a little bit of a question dodge, no? Like if I said, Jeff Bezos is my mentor, obviously I'm implying that he's mentoring me in the classical sense of like he's guiding me, he's pushing me on.
No, it wouldn't be. See, it's up to you. Did you spend a lot of time learning from Jeff Bezos? Did you spend time actually?
No, I would never but I would never say I was mentored by Jeff Bezos because it has a different connotation. I was inspired by Jeff Bezos. That's a word, right?
No, but if you take his learnings and build something upon what he was working on, right? And if you spend a lot of time on something that he was working on, and you basically, in a way, continued building on what he has built, right? So if you today learn from Jeff Bezos, if you go and learn from him, right? And if you read his books, and if you follow what he has taught, and then you go build, I don't know, one of the biggest stores on Amazon, right? A very successful store on Amazon. In a context, you could say that he has mentored you. You are what you are because you learned from him and took his foundations or what he did and built upon that.
Okay.
So without him in there, you wouldn't be here today. in your example.
Okay. I think this gets to my first problem, though, with some of the stuff that you've said, is that a lot of it is self-serving marketing that makes it seem like you're more successful than you are. And I'm not gonna allege that you've never done anything, whatever. But what I'm saying is that you're manipulating. You're using we can get into the doctor thing later. You have Dr. Evan Luthra there. You're not a doctor. You have an honorary doctorate. So it's like you're sort of trying to market yourself as something that actually there's no backing for. And then when pressed on it, it seems like you say, oh, well, it's just that I was inspired by him, which everybody's inspired by Steve Jobs. Does that mean we're all mentored by Steve Jobs? Not everyone is.
No, but not everybody is building on his app. Not everybody is building apps. Not everybody spent all their childhood, all their days building tons of apps. Not everybody spent days reading what he was doing, what he was guiding. Not everybody spent hours in a row working on something that he was talking about, right? And I mean, in the PhDs, I don't know if you want to go to that right away.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear, because I think, again, credibility is such an important thing here.
I think. See, it's a lot about opinions, right? It's a different way to look at it. I can say it's outright. I had one call with him. I'm always honest with that. I had one call with him, and that's it. And if somebody wants to consider that that's not a mentorship, that's fine. That's how you want to look at it. But to me, I consider him my mentor, and that allows me to go further. I would like to believe that. And if that allows me to become a better person, I don't think there's any harm in that.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, you say that you're mentored by Steve Jobs, but I have a little trouble believing that, because on our call, I think yesterday, you said you were not mentored by Steve Jobs and that you never said that. I'll play that clip real quick for the audience here.
I never said Steve Jobs was a mentor, by the way. I always said that I did one call with him. That's it.
So you probably can't hear that, but you said on the call, I never said I was mentored by Steve Jobs. I never said that.
Can you play the whole clip? Can you play the whole clip? What I said before and after that?
I mean, it was a long call. It was like 16 minutes.
No, let's just play the next 10 seconds. What did I say after that?
Yeah, sure. I'll try to pull it up. I mean, I clipped it out because it's just specific, but
I said on that call to you, I always said I did one call with him. That's it. And that's what I'm saying right now. I always did one call with him.
No. I agree you said that, but you said I never said I was mentored by Steve Jobs. I never said that.
And that's what I'm saying. He did not mentor me. That's the problem.
You just said you were mentored by him.
Yes, I'm telling you what I meant when I say mentored. I mean, I learned from him and I'm inspired by him. I did one call with him and I've always said that. Okay, you read everything I sent you. I told you I was one of the first 100 guys to make apps for the iPhone. I built my first app in 2010, right? In 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Today is 2020. That's over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I spent every day pretty much of all my childhood building apps. I've sent you all of that. I built about 30 apps before I turned 17. That I already sent you.
But
so
here,
for me,
go ahead.
For me, I'm learning from him, and that's mentorship. I'm learning from him. That's mentorship from me. If it was some other individual there, I probably wouldn't have done this because I wouldn't have been inspired by individual. See, again, that's the point. I didn't want this conversation to go where you're picking up. You're basically defining the word, how you want to use the word mentorship, right? That's what.
It's not about that. It's about honesty and transparency. And I really want to get into this first 100 people who created an app. I think that's a really important point that you've said a lot. And unfortunately, it's not true. So you posted your first app on the 15th of October, 2010. You sent me a screenshot of it, okay, of your Facebook post about it. Can I show that?
Yeah, that's the first public app I posted.
Okay, everybody.
Yes, I agree.
So this is his claim that he created an app. This is from his Facebook in 2010. The problem, though, is that the App Store was released in July of 2008. And it was released with 500 apps on the App Store. So the first 500 apps were done in 2008, 2 years before you're claiming you were released an app.
But that's the thing. I said no. So again, the first app I published where it was all by myself. Before that, I sent you if you want, I can go on my background. I sent you my stuff about my blog. My story is how I started building apps. I had a blog. It was the most read blog on LinkedIn's blogging platform, Pulse. I sent you that stuff too, if you want to pull that up so people could see that. I was the #1 editor on Pulse.
What does this have to do with you being the first 100 persons?
No, let me give you the context. I'm coming to that. Okay, let me give you the context. So my blog was the first. It was the #1 read blog on LinkedIn's blogging platform, Pulse. This link was acquired for 90 million. If you want to pull that up, that would be great. Then Apple announced they were coming up with the App Store, and on this was published one of my blogs. The first apps that came out, my blog was in there. And that's after that point, I decided to make my own apps and launch my own apps. But my blog was already in the first 100 apps that were published. And then I spent a long time. I spent over a year learning how to build apps. That's when I published my first app in 2015, in October 15, which you saw, which was about Delhi Metro, which was an app that was downloaded a lot of times and became the #1 app on the App Store in India. It became the most downloaded app.
This just isn't true. You didn't say that your blog appeared in the first 100 apps. First of all, the first 100 apps never existed. It was the first 500 apps. The App Store dropped with 500 apps on it. So just that number's completely outlandish. Hold on. We can't talk over each other. We can't talk over each other. So let me talk and then you can respond. So it's the first 500 apps, okay? And then if you just appeared in a blog, your blog appeared on some app. I'm sure a lot of things appeared on the first 500 apps or 100 apps or whatever you want to say, but that's not what you said. I'm going to pull up another clip from our call where you say that you built your first app at 12. Okay, let me play that real quick for the audience.
I can prove apps I built when I was 12 years old. All this is verified, right? You can verify this.
You said, I can prove this app I built when I was 12 years old. All of this is verified. You can verify this, right? Now you're claiming you built it when you were your first app when you were 15.
First iPhone app, App Store app, a web app. My blog, that's what I'm saying. My blog's web app was already live 2 years before that. My blog's web app
the App Store
live.
Was the first smartphone app.
My first web app was before. My first iPhone app was published later. And your question about the top 100 to 500, my app was in the top 100 apps. Yes, now there's millions of apps in the App Store, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's always this grading. So my app's in the first 100 apps that were there. It did not all, these apps are not, all 500 apps are not in the first 100. That's what I'm saying. I have added multiple apps which have been #1 on the App Store, and I've sent you proof of that.
No.
So
listen,
I'm not denying that.
Hold on. Here's you also saying, by the way, you published your first app, like iPhone app, when you were 13.
You can go on Apple's website, App Store. You can see apps I published when I was 12, 13.
You said you can see App Store on Apple's page. You can see things I published on the App Store when I was 12, 13. You're claiming to have published an app when you're 13. I don't know how you're trying to get around this.
No, mate. Okay, it's in front of you. Everything is in front of you in black and white. You've seen it. Okay, you've seen it. You've seen the apps which are in front of you, which I've done when I was 15. I'm saying it very clearly. Before that was a blog. I published, and the blog was not just any blog. It's not just any appearing in any app.
You can't publish a blog on an App Store.
#1. No. It's the blog. The blog inside the app was the highest level blog. It's the top. I showed you. I sent you the proof. So my blog was the one that made the app where it is. Why it was in the top 100.
No, you said you published. You said you published your first app when you were 12 or 13.
Mate,
your first app, not you were a blog featured in an app.
Okay, so let's do this. See, this argument is not helping because the point I see is, okay, you want to say I didn't do it first when I was 12? Fine, you can believe that. You can say I was when I was 15. You want to believe that? You said, you can say I built my first app when I was 15. If that makes you happy, that's fine. That's what you can believe. I did this stuff 10 years ago. If you're coming me to ask and prove you today, I built over 100 apps after that. I've sent you proof of 12 apps I built 12 apps before I was turning 15. Right? I sent you all of that. Then I sent you a lot of proof. There's a lot, all of this. I don't know, over 100 apps till today, buddy. It's very hard if you ask me to go back in time and tell you what happened 10 years ago. I've been involved in building so many companies. Obviously, I can't tell you the details of that time.
But what I'm trying to say is that your press is, look, I think there's just an honesty problem here, because you're saying one thing and then you change it and you change it and you change it. So you said you said you agree that your first app was published when you were 15 years old, right?
Pardon?
Your first app was published when you were 15, right?
First iPhone app published by myself, yes, and that became top 10, okay, let's talk the full facts, right? If you want to put me down, I would appreciate it if you talk the whole post.
No, I'm not trying to put you down. I'm trying to sort out fact from fiction. That's the whole thing.
Okay, let's talk the facts. That's fine. My app, the first app, according to you, that I've proven to you, was when I was October 15, 2010, when I was 15 years old. I've also proven to you this app was '1 on the Indian App Store in 7 days of its launch. I've sent you that proof, right? It was #1 in 7 days of my launch. This is the proof I provided. It was
here's what I'm seeing, though. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a press site that published about you saying that according to these people, you created over 30 apps that were used by millions of people before you were even 15. And that can't be true. And I'm just trying to ask you, come clean.
No, I had all these downloads, by the way, when I was 15, 16. But yes, it's true. I agree that to some part of that press release may not be true. But you have to remember, I don't control all the press. There's a lot of, and that's the problem right now.
Do you think they're making stuff up about you?
That's one of the biggest problems. There's a lot of misinformation right now. There's people making fake stuff, and there's people making a lot of fake stuff and then talking shit about it.
So when the Vice girl said that you were mentored by Steve Jobs and Steve Jobs was asking you how to make his app store successful, do you think she was lying or she misquoted you or something?
I'm not saying she misquoted me. I'm not saying she didn't. If you can repeat the quote in full and slowly, but I also proved to you about the Vice article. I mean, that's the article you used in your first video. I proved to you Vice paid me money. I got paid by Vice $3,000 to interview for them. So what do you want to, if you want to go into how the PR works, I can tell you a lot about how PR works. Vice paid me money to do that interview for them. I told them outright, it's going to cost me money it's going to cost you money if you want to come and take an interview for me. At that time, when Vice interviewed me, I was on 2 TV shows in America. I was on Good Morning America. I was in already my TV show that was the first Rich Kids of Instagram TV show was seen by millions of people. It came out. So I had a lot more ego at that time. I'm not gonna deny it. So when they reached out, so they paid me for that article. And after that, they went and glorified it further. I agree. That article is over glorification, right? I agree that's how it looks like. But I had nothing to do with it if they went and made it look more than how it should be. Well, I got no role to play in that.
Yeah, I just want to cover that real quick because I think it's important to know, obviously you can't control everything someone says about you, but some of these are direct quotes from you. And you say, Steve Jobs approached Evan to work out how to harness the power of the newly configured App Store. And then it says he had just built the App Store and no one was using it. He was just looking for feedback. And you said you told him it's a great platform. So is it true that Steve Jobs approached you to figure out, his App Store wasn't getting downloads, it wasn't doing well?
Now, how she's written it, obviously, it can't be word for word like that. She has definitely over-glorified it. I'm not denying that. Obviously, the piece looks like very over-glorification. But yes, the fact is Steve Jobs did poll. He did ask, how is the App Store? What is your feedback? Any CEO at that time, and I can't prove the Steve Jobs poll, but I can prove the country head of Google, which is equally as big as Apple, putting me on stage when I was 17, the country head of Google in front of thousands of people, putting me on stage. If a 17-year-old can build apps, why can't you build apps? The country head of Google India, which is Google's biggest market, Google happens to be as big as Apple. I have proof for that. I don't have proof for that call, but yes, Steve Jobs did call and did ask for feedback on his App Store, which is a very normal thing to do, because if you go back in that time, this is a time when everybody was using BlackBerry.
Okay.
Right? BlackBerry was the king. Nokia was nobody. Apple became big in our generation, in yours and mine generation. So Apple was not as big before.
So his App Store was struggling, and then he was looking for feedback from the people.
It was not struggling. I don't agree.
That's what the Vice article says that you said.
So no, that's how they have quoted it. I'm not denying that they have overglorified the article, but I was paid. It was a paid gig. I'm not going to go and deny them. At that time, somebody wrote an article and paid me $3,000 for it. I was happy. I said, okay.
So the thing is this. I thought you might say that Millie McCone, who's the writer of this piece, it basically changed the words or she overblew it. But so I reached out to Millie, the writer of the piece, and I asked, did Evan say these things? He's maybe alleging that maybe he didn't say these things. Because yesterday you were telling me Steve Jobs didn't mentor you, and she said you did. You said that he did. Now you're saying he did. But this is what she said, just for everybody. She said, everything committed to print is verified by you and recorded to audio by myself and transcribed by Vice. So according to her, I mean, again, this comes to who's lying here, because there are two stories being told. It's Steve Jobs is calling you, asking how to make the App Store better, which you have no proof of. And the App Store, by the way, just for everyone who is knowing, it was an instant success. There's nothing struggling about it. It had 10 million application downloads in 3 days. And he said, I'm quoting Steve Jobs here, the App Store is a grand slam, is what he said. So the App Store was never struggling. And also combining that with the fact that you didn't publish your first app until you were 15. And so the App Store had been around for 2 years. So why is Steve Jobs calling for feedback
I agree.
on an
So
App
let's
Store that's
ask Wise.
2 years later?
Let's ask Wise to provide where I said I was struggling. I don't think I would have said that too. So let's ask Wise to provide that clip where they said I was struggling. If you're already in touch with them, why don't you ask them to provide that? Let's ask them.
I mean,
Right?
I
mean,
can try. I can't do it right now.
Let's ask them.
Yeah, no, I'll ask away. But the
I
point,
don't-
but the point,
I agree
but the
with you.
point,
I don't
but the
think I
point
would have
is
said that.
consistently you're kind of saying, oh, this isn't right about me. This isn't right. When the story is falling apart, where you built an app when you were 13. No, wait, it wasn't an app. It was my blog within an app. But actually, I was the first 100 downloads. Wait,
Okay.
no, there was 500 downloads. Right? It's like what I'm trying to get at is we've got to separate fact from fiction here. Your whole brand is built on being honest and building this trust with the people who are looking at your lifestyle. There are people claiming that you're fake, but it's up to you to prove that you're not and say these things that I said I did, I actually did.
Let's go on that point you just said. There's people claiming I'm fake. The only people who are claiming that are trolls, anonymous page. You're the first guy who ever stood up, and I confronted you. Before you, the only people who ever said anything is behind an anonymous page. And there's one guy who stood up, and that's because I sent you proof. He owes me a bunch of money. And there is nobody who's before you publicly, somebody of some influence who has got up and said something. It's always anonymous people, always fake profiles on the internet, and always trolls. People who have followed that troll pages and followed trolls. I have had multiple big companies wet me and give me honors. Do you have that do actual vetting, actual verification, give me honors and verify stuff? See, I'm not denying there's a lot of misinformation around things, and I'm not denying I may have said something about 10 years ago, stuff that happened 10 years ago. And you have to remember, there's a lot of content in my life. There is a lot of content. I have done so much stuff that there's so much stuff in the past that I have to pull up now. I was telling you about right now an app I made about MIT. I was telling you I couldn't find it because I couldn't find the location right now, but I did. I built over 100 apps, and I have equities and shares in over 50 plus apps that I told you can verify almost online. All the companies you asked me, I sent you proof. Think about it. How does one person?
Here's the thing about the press thing. You're talking. I want to bring up the press idea because that's the problem. Is you're paying for press, and so the reality of the 21st century, and something I've been trying to tell my subscribers, is that the appearance of success, I think you'll even agree with this, can be bought. You can just buy the appearance of success. You don't have to actually be successful.
I agree with you 100%. If you have the right resources and the right connections, you can buy the appearance of success. I can agree with that. See, it's very easy to manipulate people today online. If that's what you're trying to get to, is that if you can manipulate people, it's very, very easy to manipulate people online today. You can create news which does not exist, and most people will believe that. People believe what they read. They do not check the source of information where it's coming from.
News.
So yes,
but news like, you created 30 apps before you were 15 years old because you hadn't created any apps before you were 15. My problem is it looks like you're trying to build up the appearance of being like a tech savant from the time you were young, when the reality is much more normal and what you'd expect. You know what I mean? And it seems like all of the mistakes and
but
you
see, I'm not
misunderstood me.
building it up.
Hold on. All the mistakes are all end up serving you. I mean, like the whole thing of, it was just a confusion, man. I wasn't actually mentored by Steve Jobs. I just said I was, but I meant it in a different way. That's only serves your public profile. It's all to serve you.
Yeah, but
I built 100 apps by the time or 30 apps by the time I was 15.
No.
That
See,
serves
it's not
you,
to
but
serve
it's not
me.
true.
It's not to serve me. Okay, let's go to the example where the country head of Google India pulled me up on stage, right? He used me as a tool. It served Google. Let's be very clear. It served Google. Why do you think he put me? There were thousands of people in the audience, right? Why do you think he chose me to use an example to get people to build? This was a Google's technical event. They had thousands of developers coming there, and it was all about building apps for Android.
I'll tell you why.
So why do you think? Because he thought he could use me as a tool, and it would be great for him. And why do you? Okay, Vice. Let's go to the Vice article. They paid me. Remember, I didn't pay them. This is in 2016. They paid me. And okay, you want to go deeper into the Vice context? This article was written for Vice motherboard. It was paid for UBS. UBS is the end customer for whom this content was going. UBS is a private credit Swiss, very big bank for mostly very wealthy individuals. For them, this idea using this content, there's a piece that was a parallel piece that went with it. They were serving themselves. Let's be very clear about them. They were being paid by UBS to create such kind of content for UBS readers, out of which I was paid $3,000 to come and interview me because they thought that was interesting for their readers.
But this doesn't get around.
So, but yes, it serves me too.
It
serves both sides.
But none of it's getting around like just lies. I mean, at a certain point, you can say Steve Jobs is a mentor all you want, but when the only proof you have is one call that it doesn't seem like ever happened because you didn't start with the App Store.
It's fine. See, I've always said it. If somebody wants to go into the details of what I meant by the mentorship, like I've said it right in the open, right? I've never denied that. I've always said for me, it always was one call. So if somebody wants to go into the details, that's fine. They can ask.
No. But it's all about appearance. And this is where I want to go to the doctorate thing. The doctor, right? Dr. Evan Luthra. I mean, come on, man. That's kind of a joke. And it goes back to the thing of if anyone asks, you'll say, yeah, it's honorary, but you're trying to take credit and be seen as an expert when you're not one.
No, but I am an expert in the space of blockchain. I've spoken at 50 plus blockchain events in 2017.
So what? You donate to these events. Of course you're going to speak at them.
No, I have been paid by a lot of these events to speak at them. Like I said, it's 2 things. I've been paid by a lot of events, and I sponsor. I don't donate. No, I'm not donating anywhere free money. I always sponsor them because I get coverage. One of my companies sponsors them. But yes, I mean, I have built a lot of companies in the blockchain space. I sent you the AngelList company, Swole, that went on to raise $100 million plus. I did most of the marketing for India. I've been involved in launching a lot of crypto companies and directly running with the PhD. It was because I opened the world's first blockchain center. First one I opened in New Delhi, India. Then I opened one in Dominican Republic. Then we helped work with one. We opened one in Zurich where I had only 5% shareholding. I'm studying it openly. The Zurich one, I was just a partner. But the PhD was it's very common. I didn't invent this. It's been happening for hundreds of years. People donate buildings in the US and they get a building name after them and they get an honorary doctorate. Here you donate a small room and you open a blockchain center. It's the same thing.
But
so what is wrong in that?
Nobody who gets an honorary doctorate calls themselves doctor.
I know a lot of people in India who do that. Maybe it's different in your side of the world. But I know a lot of people who have honorary doctorates in India and they have the word doctor in front of them. So see,
don't you think that it's disrespectful to the people who spent 7, 8, 10 years of their life studying something to come in with a little bit of money, fund a little center, which has nothing to do with actually knowing anything about blockchain, and then just claiming you have an honorary doctorate in blockchain, which you say you have a PhD. It's a doctorate, though, which is not the same thing.
Yeah. No, see, you could consider it an insult if somebody would want to take it like that. I agree. Maybe somebody doesn't like it, but that shouldn't stop me from. I did not break any rules or It's not illegal to if you get an honorary doctorate, you can't put the word doctor. That's how it's done here. So
it's not illegal, but again, this goes back to the idea that it just furthers the idea that you're trying to make yourself seem like something that you're not.
For me, I don't have any kind of degree. I didn't go to university, so for me, this is better. Like it's great for me to feel that way. I didn't go to university, so I don't have any kind of
But
degree.
don't claim
So-
you. Don't make it seem like you did. Don't make it seem like you got the highest
I
education
go to I know,
possible.
but I give speeches all the time. I tell people I dropped out. The first thing in my speech is always I'm a dropout, and then I say I have an honorary doctorate.
Listen,
the only place
but
where
the problem is you don't always say you have an honorary doctorate, and you're throwing this doctor in front of your name, which you don't deserve. You've never earned. You've never earned it.
I've earned it. That's the point I'm coming to. Yes, to you maybe it's not okay. That's your point, and I'm willing to listen to your point. I'm not denying that. You think I've not earned it, that's fine. But I do believe that I've done enough in the blockchain space to deserve that. I do believe that. I was very early in the blockchain space. Also, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2012. I have been involved in growing a lot of companies in the blockchain space from very early on, and I think I think it's a fit moniker. So I don't think why I cannot have it. I mean, I told you the example when we had this chat yesterday that you can even buy the title Lord, right? You can buy the title Lord. If you buy a 5 square feet by 5 square feet piece of land in Scotland, by tradition you're meant to have a title Lord. So this is again a circumvent way around what's been said. Now, if I had an ability in life,
but do you understand how this can come off like a poser or like somebody's trying to buy the image of success instead of actually being successful?
Let me just finish what I was coming to.
Sure.
Why I bought that Lord title? Very simple. I do 120 flights every year. Now I get better service at airport. So if I found a way in life to get a better service and move ahead, and I used that way, and I feel it's still okay and it's acceptable.
Well, wait.
And I feel if somebody
you
else
get
has
treated
same
better as
opportunity-
what?
If you have the title Lord in front of your name, then hotels and airports they treat you better. They would because they see in your bookings you can use that title.
So you call
So
yourself
it's a
Lord
life hack.
Evan Luthra?
In some of the bookings where I'm going, I would use the title because I legally bought a piece of land in Scotland, and it allows me to use that. It's a life hack that I found and I use to my benefit. Nobody's telling you these things doesn't mean you can't use them. This is what I've learned in my life. I think it's a great way. I think if somebody else can get that, go for it.
I think though that you have to understand that people are gonna call you a faker. I'm looking at one of your things from I think this is your Angel Co. or it's one of your listings, your profiles, where you have Evan Luthra, entrepreneur, investor, 24, PhD. The best way to predict the future is to build it. Nothing about it being honorary, buddy. I mean, that's lying.
Maybe in a lot of these profiles are not made by me. There's a team working behind it. See, again, I said openly there's an honorary doctorate. I'm telling you, I agree there would be some people who would be in. Like I said to you, most people don't read the details. They don't
But you're not putting it in the details. Your Instagram, Dr. Evan Singh Luthra.
I can't put everything everywhere.
Nothing.
I can't put everything. There's no limit to. I have to remove something else to put it.
Do you know
there's
what
no limit to.
Do you know
use the word honorary?
Do you know what a Purple Heart is?
I do not know what that is.
Okay, it's one of the highest awards when you are in the army here and you get injured, and they give you a Purple Heart in battle, right? It's this really
US
prestigious award that is like really respected, right? Let's say I'm in the army, I'm sitting at a desk job, and I get a paper cut. I don't have a Purple Heart because I got a paper cut working for the army, right? The award means something. It implies sacrifice. It actually has a level of respect given to it because of the exclusivity of the thing. And you're sort of stomping all over that and saying, oh, yeah, it's fine because it's technically not illegal. Well, it's also technically a douchebag move, and you can't be mad when people say it.
No, but you're talking about an honorary Purple Heart. It's in my LinkedIn. It says honorary. It's on my website. It says honorary. Things which I control, my website, it says honorary. Things which are LinkedIn, it says honorary. I can't put honorary in my Instagram because it doesn't have that much space. I would put it if I had that space.
You have space to say, the best way to predict the future is
yes,
to build
those
it.
things are more important to me. If somebody wants to do the research, click the link
Then
and
being
one
honest?
tap and you open my website and it says the first paragraph. So I mean, again, I believe I got it and I have a right to do it. It's not me who invented the concept of honorary Purple Heart. I didn't invent that. Before me, there's been thousands of people, probably tens of thousands of people who have had honorary Purple Hearts, and I am 10,001 in line. And if I'm using it, and again, it's in your culture. I know a lot of people who put it in front of them, doctor, even though they have honorary
I've
PhD.
never
I've
seen
learned
that.
from that.
And I would call them.
Maybe
I
it's
would
in
tell
your
them
culture.
it's just as dumb as I'm telling you right now. I'm just telling you honestly. Just
Wait,
like, just
I mean,
like
see,
from
a
externally.
lot of what Americans are doing is called down by people outside of America right now.
Yeah, I'm just
I'm not
telling
gonna
from
go there.
a third party perspective. You should
Yes,
stop doing that
that.
because it's just embarrassing. When people actually find out, it's embarrassing.
Okay, let's do this. I agree what you're saying. I'll go halfway through. I'll remove the doctor from Instagram because it's not clear in full. Like I said, I'm open to the criticism.
Now drop the doctor altogether. You're not a doctor. You have no expertise in blockchain. You've never done a paper. You've never researched
I have
blockchain.
an honorary PhD in blockchain. I don't claim I'm an expert in blockchain. I claim I'm an honorary PhD in blockchain.
I wish we could rewind this 15 seconds ago when you said you are an expert in blockchain.
Yes, and I've proven the things I've done. So it's been said by a lot of people. I agree with that part too. But I believe if I'm claiming it's an honorary PhD, when I go to blockchain events everywhere, I would be okay. I think I would be happy to claim it's an honorary PhD. I write that in the events in the bios.
So it's sort of like
that should be fine.
You're an expert, but you're not an expert, is what I'm hearing.
No, so let's agree with you. What do you think? I shouldn't be allowed to claim honorary PhD? That should be okay according to you. If it says honorary, that's a concept. I should be allowed to claim
First of all, I
that.
think it says honorary doctorate, but it doesn't mean you can
Honorary
say
doctorate.
doctor. And anytime you ever use the word doctorate or anything, honorary goes before it. I don't care if you don't have enough characters. Don't put it, buddy. But also, it's just not a thing that you really like stand on. It's kind of a weird. I'm just telling you how it looks from the outside. I don't want to stay on this topic kind of forever because I don't think it's super important, but I just wanted to tell you that it's just insulting to everyone who's actually done the work, right? That's what it is. You might see it as a life hack, but it's insulting.
I mean, we'll agree to disagree there. So let's leave it there. I will take your feedback and I will remove it from the Instagram. The doctor, I will remove that if you feel that's the way. But I'll leave it honorary, and I'll try to be a better person today onwards from you. There you go.
Okay, fair enough. So let's see here. There's also the story of, so one thing I want to talk about now is now that we've established sort of why there's some hate around you. It's because there are holes in your story, right? There's things that don't make sense. There are things that are actually not true here, not true there. So now let's move on to sort of your business, right? What you're in the business of, and talk about that, because I think it's really important. You know, I wouldn't care if you're saying these things, but you're not taking investments, things like that. But you're building yourself up, and then you're taking investments from people. So you have a company called Startup. Sorry, I don't want to get this wrong. Startup School?
Startup Studio.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a few questions about that. And I first want to get into like the allegations made against you. And let me finish, and then you can jump in and maybe correct whatever. So 3 people came to me and said that you took significant amounts of money from them. And the idea was you're going to build an app for them. Okay. Just for everyone listening at home. And you were going to both build the app and invest a significant amount of money into their company. Okay. And they allege that you basically overcharged them and took the money they were making. You didn't tell them that you were going to build a bad app in India and not spend much money. And they were expecting a lot more, and they got a bad product delivered. So I think one of them lost $80,000. One of them lost $170,000. And I think he might have gone temporarily homeless. I mean, it was pretty serious. And then another one lost like $100,000 or something. I don't have these factors completely right, okay? But they gave you all this money under the idea that you're going to build an app, and then basically they got sort of subpar apps out of it. And I sort of wanted to ask you about that, because in light of sort of these, I don't want you, if you want to call them lies or half-truths about your experience in this space, What do you think? What are your responses to those people? And then I want to talk about like why you only get 20% of their investment if you're investing so much money. So you want to respond real quick?
Yes, sure. Very happy to go into details about this. Now, there's three people, the model you talked about, there's three people that you have talked to. And I sent you 6 case studies of people that have all been very happy. You read their recommendations. I told you can contact them. I sent you all the proof before. I've built apps with over 50 different co-founders today where I've had partnerships with people where they come to me with an idea. If I like the idea, I invest significant part of the app, and then they invest. I ask them to invest a lot less. I invest 4 to 5 times the money they invest, and ask them to invest a lot less because I need to have them skin in the game. For me, it's more about they're committed. I've already proven to you investments that I hold, just 2 investments that you have seen off AngelList are worth over $10 million. Just the ease investment, one single investment that you can verify that I was AngelList, and the hash.
I wasn't able to verify that.
I sent you the angel.co link. It says via AngelList. That proves you the money was sent to AngelList. They sent to Ease.
I don't know how much you invested.
I sent you the doc.
I don't know how much you invested in Ease. Maybe I couldn't find
it. Okay, but you verified that I was the investor. You didn't verify the amount. You verified that I was the investor.
No, you said you invested with Fresh VC, and I can't
verify.
Yes,
which is the.
Okay.
That's the fund. I sent you. Okay, I'm happy to send you that stuff. It's all there. Those stuff's verifiable.
Okay.
Companies. I have invested in companies which have shares worth tens of millions of dollars. I don't need to scam somebody for $300,000 right now. I don't need to do that. These guys failed because these guys failed because their companies failed because of them. I've had a lot of success to show. I have partners who have built apps with. They have invested money in the app. I've invested money in the app. The same kind of deals with these 10, 20 people more, 30 people more than these 3 people. And a lot of them have had good success and great success. A lot of them have failed. That's understandable. And they still have good things to say about me because they realize why the app failed.
But here's the part that I don't understand. Here's the part that I don't understand, okay? And I want everyone to get this real quick. Okay, so these people come to you, and a lot of times they're not like super old. Like I know one of them was like 16 or 17 when he approaches you, right? A kid with an idea, okay? And he tells you about this idea. He has nothing, okay? And this is your business model. It makes no sense. You say, hey, you give me 20% of your company and I'll invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into this app that doesn't exist. I'll invest 4 times what you are investing. So this guy invested like 100,000, whatever he invested, and you claim to invest.
No, you're looking at it.
You claim to invest. Hold on. You claim to invest $500,000 for 20% of a kid's company. That makes no sense.
That's normal.
No.
That's normal.
Okay.
That's how the. If I take a big part of their company, think of it from my perspective, right? If I end up taking 80% of their company and giving them 20%, then they have no reason to keep working to make that company big. Because they have multiple rounds of investment. There's seed round, then there's Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D. They will keep losing equity along.
Evan,
I've invested in companies which have no product.
You're talking about a company that really did not exist at all. I mean, it was just an idea.
Yes, but this is very normal.
Literally just an idea with no cash flow, no revenue.
This is my business model. I diversify hundreds of investments, and then I wait for that moonshot, like Ease, like Hashgraph, which give me 100x. That's the business model. You invest in a lot of companies, and then you wait for the companies to grow. Because in startups, these are facts. 95% of companies will fail. That's obvious.
Right. You got to let me talk, though. You got to let me talk because the devil's in the details here, right? Because what they're claiming is that they put in $100,000, $90,000, and their app only actually cost $90,000.
Okay, listen, you're claiming about 3 people.
Hold on. Let me speak, okay? Because we can't talk over each other. We won't get anywhere. So
I agree,
100%. 20%. They're investing like $90,000, and a lot of apps cost about that range. And then you take 20% of the company. But on top of that, you are claiming to have invested $500,000 into their company. Okay? You're claiming to invest $500,000 for 20% of a company that doesn't really exist without you doing all the work. You're doing all the work. You're investing.
I'm not doing all the work.
4 times the money, right? All they have is the idea. And then you're claiming to only get 20%. It doesn't add up. It makes no sense.
Okay.
From my perspective.
Let me go to answer you one by one. Let me go answer your questions one by one.
Sure.
All the points, because you already made 3 points. Right. The first thing is, I'm not doing most of the work. I'm doing very little work. My money is doing a lot of the work for me. My people. I have hundreds of developers working. They're building the app. Remember, there's people building the app. They build the app, and then it's the responsibility of the founder to run the app. And these three guys' companies failed because they were unable to do that. Not once. If my app had failed, this Noah guy would not have come back to me for a second app. He had a second app. He came back to me for a second app. I made a new deal with him. I loaned him money.
But
okay?
answer.
Let me complete. Let me complete. I'm going to come to all your points. I'm going to come. He came back to me for a second app. If I was doing bad quality app to him, he would have not come back for a second app. And he got me into a similar agreement again, in which he didn't pay me. He did a loan. So I invested full amount. And he's a young guy. That's why I need him to co-invest, because I need him to have skin in the game. If he's not co-investing, tomorrow he walks away. So he came back for a second act with me, got back into an agreement, a second agreement. He went back inside and notarized, and I sent you that agreement. That's my other point. If these guys at any points, they could have gone to the court. They never went to court. Okay, and now the point about how you claim the app was $90,000. That's not how it works. It costs $50,000 to buy a car. Yeah, but you can buy a Rolls Royce for $500,000, or you can buy a Toyota Prius for $20,000. It depends what you're buying. And you talk to three people who talk shit because they owe me money on contract. That's the reason. I give you numbers of 6 people. I give you case studies. I give you recommendations. I told you to go and ask. I told you to do your research and talk to all these people I've built apps with, and I'm building apps with right now. What is their experience? And you already know, you've seen that my apps were top 3 apps before, featured by Apple. So the cost of my app, now again, these people knew what was the deal. They knew the terms from the first day. It was a contract, they signed it, that says this is how much the app is going to cost. Do you agree or do you not agree? And this is how much it's going to cost, this is how much I'm going to put in. And this, you don't go to Rolls-Royce later and tell them, yo, your car should not cost us $500, it should cost us $400,000. Give me $100,000 back. That's not how business is done. It was I've had partners who are 45 years old running for presidential campaigns. I've had partners like Noah who were 17 years old. Noah had a great idea. He had a very big vision, and I fell for that vision. But he's delusional. I mean, it's on that level.
Again though, it's not making any sense. You're taking a 17-year-old kid, and you're investing. While this kid has $100,000 in the app, you're investing, I think, $500,000 for 20% of a company, and then your company, whether you want to say you did the work or your company did the work, your company is doing most of the work for 20% of the company. I don't think so. It doesn't make sense when the math doesn't add up. Something's wrong.
No.
Right?
No. But you're not. I'm not doing any of the work. The work is to run the app. But if it's about building apps, I could build 100 apps myself without needing partners. I need those partners to run the company. And I'm happy they keep 80% for that, because out of 10, one works, they give me 100x. Out of 20, one works, they give me 100x. That's how startup investments work. Look at why do you think 10 years ago, the 5 biggest companies in the world, 15 years ago, were all oil companies around 2005, right? And 5 biggest companies in the US were all oil companies.
I feel like we're going off track here. I feel like we're going off track.
Okay, no, I'm not going off track. I'm giving you why technology is the fastest growing industry in the world.
But that's off track.
Technology.
Let
me come to my point. No, you need to understand how my business model works to comment on my business model. Okay. You don't understand it yet.
Okay.
You don't, because that's what I'm saying.
I
People
think
come to me with ideas. No, you do not. People come to me with ideas related to technology. If I like the idea, I say I'm investing in it and I build it for them. But it's their job to run the business. If they manage to successfully run the business, my ROI is 100x, because I was there very early on. But majority of these people will fail. That's understood, because that's how startup investments work. Majority of the startups do fail. But the ones which work, that's why we have the Airbnbs. That's why we have the Twitters. That's why we have the Eases. That's why we have the Facebooks. They work. They give you crazy returns. If you invested in Uber seed round,
hold on,
$25,000.
We're really going off track.
Let
me say what I think's going on. Okay, and I'll tell you what I think is going on.
But you should have a good source of knowledge. I'm open to listen to you, but like I said before, verify your information before making allegations. Check your source. So I'm happy to listen to you. That's what I told you.
I'm just explaining it. No, it's just this is just logic, right? This is just logic, right? Logically, it doesn't make sense to go to a kid who has who has money, he ends up
Doesn't
paying
make
you.
sense if you do it to one kid. If you do it to one kid, doesn't make sense. If you know the numbers are out of 100 kids, 5 kids will guarantee go 100x. And you make 500 times your money, even if you give the money to 100 kids. And it's not always 100 kids. And Noah was no joke. If he had 100,000 at that time lying around, he claims right now online he made $42 million.
The problem
So
is
I
this.
believed in him.
Hold on, Evan.
Most of my partners are running for president. Okay, I have partners who are running for presidential elections. I have partners who are very, very successful, have very good businesses. I sent you case studies. You did not do your time to go through them. I sent you content. So you read the case studies. You read. You saw some of my partners, right?
Yes.
Because guys who are 40 years old, IITians, studying some of the biggest universities, and they build good apps. I build the apps. My company build the apps, not me. My company built the apps. I went on to raise further funding. My model worked great. I got a great return on it. But the model only works if you diversify, if you have enough investment.
I don't think any investor, serious investor, will look at this and say it makes sense to give a 4 times investment on what the initial, take an idea that really doesn't exist yet, that's really just an app idea, invest 4 times what the founder's investing, and then only get 20% as you build the app for them. I don't think that makes sense, but we're going to have to leave it there because ultimately it's
exactly. It's working great for me. The model works.
Well, you say it is, but it's like we don't actually know if you're successful because we don't know how much money you've lost. We don't know how much of this money is your dad's money. I mean, the whole problem is you've bought a lot of claims that a lot of them have turned out to be true. So what's our reason to believe anything you say? You call yourself a doctor, you're not really a doctor.
No, it's up. I said again, it's on my website and my LinkedIn says honorary doctorate. It's again, see, the point is up to you what you want to believe. It's up to you. You want to do the research? It's all there. Do your research. Talk to Noah. See his company failed. Why it failed. Why has he now gone to court? Why has none of these 3 people ever went to court? If I lost them the money, there's paperwork, there's agreements. Why are they hiding behind anonymous troll
Because
pages?
it's hard to sue people in India? And they probably don't have a lot of money? And you do have a lot of money?
The company, I have companies in the U.S., my friend. They signed a contract with the U.S. entity.
Yeah, but
out of New
your
York.
contract says that the arbitration clause is in India.
So they can fight it in India. They could sue me in the U.S. even if they wanted to.
But don't lie because your contract says that they have to fight it in India. So they can't sue you in India because everyone knows, good luck getting that off the ground. And as I said, these people are cash strained.
Okay.
So what recourse do they really have, right? That's the problem. That's why I don't like when people take people's money who are struggling and sell them the idea, the vision.
But the point is, I sent you a contract, mate, which clearly says he owes me $200,000 today after interest. Noah owes me
I'm not talking about
Noah. Anyways, anybody, if they wanted to come after me for the money, they could legally come, but they have no right.
But they're broke. They're broke, and they have to go to India. Good luck. You set it up well. I mean, you set it up well.
You
I got to admit.
Examples. You picked up 3 examples. I told you one. No, I sent you a contract that's verified by Swiss notaries that he owes me money. Second, Miguel, he came after me legally. His legal team came after me, sent me a notice. I sent them a notice. His own legal team left him. His legal team left him because they knew everything he was saying was bullshit.
That's not true. I've talked to this guy. He goes, I was broke. He goes, I was broke. I couldn't pay for any more hours on my lawyer.
How do you believe him? How do you believe him and not believe me? Mate, I'm giving you
because you have a track record of lying here. We've established the track record.
He has that too. How does he not have that? I'm telling you. Okay,
as I said at the beginning, it's a matter of credibility. It's a matter of credibility. And when you're coming to me saying you're mentored by Steve Jobs, you lose a lot of credibility.
Miguel, let's not leave this point. You put up 3 people who said bad things about me about my deals, right? 2 of them, one of them owes me money legally. The other one tried to come after me legally. His lawyers left him.
He's broke.
The third one,
he's broke.
No, but he had the money to pay the lawyer. That's why he came after. He paid the money to the lawyer. The lawyers didn't work for him. I don't know if they worked for him for free. He sent me a notice asking for money back and coming up with all these bullshit claims that this attorney did this, did that. And once I sent him the responses with the contracts, there was no hearing back. And this was over a year ago, actually. So the third guy, Petri, I had a chat with him. I never knew that he was saying bad things about me until you told me yesterday. You're the first person you told me. So I talked to him yesterday and asked him. He's discontent. And I think Petri still has a chance to make the app work. So I'm still going to talk to him. But I maintain these apps failed because of my partners not putting in, not because of me. If these apps were successful, Miguel would be buying me a yacht today or would be buying me a fucking jet. That's how it would be. Obviously, his app didn't work out and he's putting the blame on me. I have more failures than I have.
But you built the app.
Yeah, but I'm not responsible to run it. It was approved by Apple. It was working fine.
Yeah, but
and it
you
was
can
approved
dump
by Apple.
any crappy app that gets approved by Apple. Doesn't
No,
mean it's the
but
Rolls Royce you're saying it is.
If I was building shitty apps, I wouldn't have had the previous success I had. You already know I wouldn't have the previous success I had. My apps wouldn't be that good. See, this is again, we can't come to a discussion.
What's sort of the no? Because I don't want to argue the whole time.
Yeah, we can't argue.
Let's move on. Let's move on to another topic. Okay. What do you think? What is the biggest app that you've ever personally built that we would know?
That the most downloads purely based on most downloads, if you consider, would be the ICC Cricket World Cup app I built, and it had millions and millions of downloads. But I got sued by ICC. It was removed in 15 days. I had to transfer the whole code base to ICC over because I used the logo without knowing that I had no rights to use the logo. The app before it was taken over by ICC. Now this was actually a big case. When I was 16 years old, I had a very big learning experience. I used the logo of ICC Cricket World Cup and launched an app for the World Cup without their permission. But before they took over the app from me, it already had millions of downloads. And it was very, very high. It was the #1 app in Australia, in Pakistan, in India,
right,
in the UK.
Because you're leveraging someone else's fame and then just making a quick app on it. Of course it's going to get...
No, so that's fine. I'm not saying...
Get a ton of downloads, but that doesn't mean it's a successful or interesting app. It just means it has a lot of downloads. And it was a free app.
But it was... It was a free app. It was... People could see the scores. They could follow the live World Cup that was happening. It was providing value. I had more apps than the ICC normal app, the official app. That's why they sued me. They let me go without paying them any money because I was 16. I gave them all the users. I gave them everything. And this is a model that's how I got a lot of my early success. I built a lot. You saw that. I sent you. I built app for 2.5 Men, the TV show. I built an app for Gossip Girl, the TV show. I built an app where the communities could come and engage. These apps got hundreds of thousands of downloads and they became #1 top 3 apps.
Why on all the screenshots that you sent me? I mean, they say, they're the top free app. I do see that on the different categories. But the problem is that they have no ratings. Why don't they have any ratings in these screenshots?
Because these screenshots came in the first 2-3 days when I published the app. And that's what I'm saying. At that time, the apps shot up to the top downloads. And there were no ratings that were posted in that time. Usually you have to wait before the ratings show up. But they are there. You want to verify this? I sent you the proof. You can call up Apple and verify. You can reach out to them. Best proof is there for you. I'm not denying that. That proof is there. Those apps, Gossip Girl, 2.5 Men, I made for a few, Lie to Me, a few more TV shows I made at that time. That's what I'm saying. It's so back in the past. And all of these apps became the top in their category and hundreds of thousands of downloads.
Okay, we don't have any verifications on hundreds of thousands. All we have is screenshots that say no ratings. They are at the top.
No, but you have screenshots for
the top, of course, but there's no ratings, so I don't really know I don't know what to make of that, honestly.
Okay, let's do this. You go and verify this from Apple. That's on you. If you want to make an allegation, it's not there.
I was trying to look at the App Store. I was looking up Evan Luthra Industries. I couldn't find anything.
No, this is 2015. This is not there anymore. This is 2015. You're going to have to reach out to Apple and ask them. I told you, this is 2015. I haven't built an app since I was 18 myself. I haven't written a single line of code. Since I was 18. That's why I asked you when you said app that I have built would be back in the past. Now I don't build myself. I have developers building for me.
Okay, let me be clear then. What app has your company built that we would all know?
Okay, so now you have talked about, I want to plug some of the apps that we have been recently involved in, which are very nice.
I don't want plugs. No plugs. Sorry, buddy.
Okay, go check out GameFarm. It's great for your audience. You can download games. It's a US-based app where you can download games and play games, and you can bet money and you win real money on the games. It's called GameForm, GameForm. You can download on the App Store. Let me see what
again, we don't need the plug. Just the name is fine. Thank you very much. Jesus.
App that I would think where my company has built. Would you say that I've invested in it also, or I've not invested money?
No, you built because the quality of your apps that you build.
Okay. So if you want to talk about building. No. So then we have built a lot of high quality apps. We have built up for Fortune 500 companies, which are essentially hospitals.
Okay.
We have built for banks.
I was looking for just one name. Maybe that GameForm is the only name.
Okay. Citibank. We designed Citibank's app. There you go. That would be my biggest. That should be the biggest well-known brand name that has worked with me.
Okay, we'll have to look that up later.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you the proof for that too.
Sure.
And even Google, there you go. Even Google is on stage. I built the app for Google's event. There you go. That's also there. It's a pretty big name.
So
they think my apps are good enough, and they still think it's good enough.
Real quick.
And these three guys, let's finish this off. They think my apps are good enough, and they still think my app good enough, and I still have companies paying me. And I'm happy to show you those documents. You refuse to sign the NDA. I sent you 5 messages. Can you sign the NDA? You said you don't want to see it. I'll send you the contract. I sent you a bunch of contracts already.
I'm not going to sign an NDA as we're about to go live on a show where I have to bring up evidence.
But if you want me to show you proof
Isn't it convenient that the proof is behind an NDA? I mean,
because I am in contracts with a lot of people. I can't. No. It's obviously I can't show. Okay. And mate, I don't know how many $1 million deals you have signed. I sent you a few already.
I haven't done too many $1 million deals. That's true.
So I've done a lot of them, and I sent you some before without NDAs, with numbers to verify. And I can send you bank statements.
But
and there are confidentiality clauses. There are confidentiality clauses where you cannot reveal something without putting the party who acquired that party thing.
Are these honorary $1 million deals or the real $1 million deals?
I have given you numbers. I have received millions of dollars of deals just in the last 1 month, 30 days.
Okay.
Separate $1 million transactions or exit. I've given you numbers. You can verify that. I gave you the numbers, and you should have done it before you got on the call.
Let's
you can
talk
still do
about
it live if you want.
Let's talk about speaking of $1 million deals. Let's talk about coronavirus, right? Coronavirus is a kind of hot topic right now, and there's a lot of word about fake stuff getting sent out and getting proposed to be like that. People pretend it's real and sell it as real, but it's actually not real. It's not legit, and they're saying it is, right? And so you've been affiliated with you've told me, I want to be clear to the audience right now. Evan does not manufacture any kind of PPE, anything like that, but he does sell it like as a third party, like I guess intermediary, I think you'd call yourself.
It's trading. It's right. Brokering, trading.
Correct. Okay. And you've sent out like brochures based on those things to get people interested and stuff like that. And I want to bring one of these things to your attention because I was looking up, one of the important things when you're selling coronavirus stuff is it has to be legit. Like that's the most
exactly.
important part.
It has to be certified. If you sell something that's not certified, it's not a civil offense. It's a criminal offense. You can go to jail for that.
Right.
If you sell a medical item, if you sell a mask, right, and you say it's a coronavirus mask, and somebody wears it and they die, and you the seller, I go into trouble. So I'm not stupid trying to go into trouble for basic masks when I've shown you I'm making millions of dollars.
Right.
From the same stuff.
So that's really what I want to talk about today, because I want to talk about these tests. So there's a brochure on your coronavirus testing kit 2 that was part of ADRA Health Tech, where it was FDA certified. I'm going to pull that up for everybody right now. FDA certified right there. Boom. Their certificate of registration, yada, yada. The problem with that, though, is that it's fake. That's a fake testing kit certification. It's a fake testing kit certification. I'm going to link it in chat real quick for everybody who wants. Don't click off the stream, you guys, but check that out. It's a fake certification. It actually is from a mask supplier. So this is a fake screenshot pretending to be certifying a test kit that is actually straight off of a mask from China. So they took a mask FDA certification and pretended that their coronavirus test was real. Can you agree? So can you agree that that is a scumbag thing to do in a time of crisis?
Okay, if there was something sold or somebody bought something in the first place, that would be a scumbag thing to do. I give you proof. I was always a consultant for ADRA Health Tech. I sent you that before. You asked me. We never sold any testing kits. I sold you that before. We never sold. We marketed it. If somebody's sending us certificates, remember, we don't manufacture. The way these deals work, you've not been involved in any deal. Let me tell you how these deals work, and for everybody else watching.
Enlighten me. Yeah.
No, listen. You guys not been involved. So you're commenting without knowing,
right?
And that's irresponsible. So let me educate you, because I have experience. I've done these deals.
You have a PhD. Educate us.
So yeah, exactly. And you don't want you want to pick the PhD points. You failed to call any of the people I sent you the numbers to verify that I sold them millions of masks and stuff. in time of their need. You failed to do that. Okay, let me
I made
say
some
this.
calls. Nobody answered, but that's just a separate thing.
Okay, so you never told me that. I asked you many times. You never told me that. Okay, I would have put you in calls right away. Anyways, how these deals work? We get content from the manufacturer. This is our stuff. This is our certificates. Then we put them in presentation. Now this me not doing this. This team's doing this. I get the brochures. I send it forward. Once the buyer agrees he likes something, then they do the verifications. At that point, I'm dealing with hundreds of brokers daily. You realize there's hundreds of brokers every other day I'm talking to source this stuff. They're sending me stuff. We put that in a brochure. We send it forward. Once a deal happens at that step, the verification is done. I've had lots of deals fall apart because brokers send fake certificates. That's happened with me many, many times. And that's normal. That's how these deals happen. No deal happens. No buyer is paying millions of dollars without verifying the stuff that he's buying, without verifying the kits. No buyer is doing that. If any buyer is doing that, that's on him. I'm a broker. I get paid a commission. I don't manufacture any of these masks. I don't manufacture any of these kits. I don't certify these kits. I don't do any of that. I'm a broker. I connect the manufacturer with the buyer. And
but you're sending out. Don't you think
yes,
it's incumbent on you to send?
No, I cannot. Okay, I'm not going to verify everything that's coming to me before sending it to a buyer.
But it's not that complicated of a verification. Let me tell you how long it took me to find out.
Okay,
no,
listen.
It took me about that long. And I don't understand why you wouldn't do that if you're selling this stuff.
No, I am not preparing those brochures, buddy. You're not understanding. I'm not preparing those brochures.
But you're selling it. So
I am getting it from somebody. And there's you're talking about testing kit 2. I didn't send you testing kit. There's testing kit 1. The company, Audra Health Tech, is authorized by them to sell that testing kit. The only issue that came up was one certificate is fake in one of the kits. A buyer would know that, and we would know that before we sell to the buyer. We would know that if this kit was actually ordered by somebody, but it was never ordered and it was never moved forward. We have like this testing kit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We get content, we send it forward. And once the deal closes, that's when you go into verifying if it's real or there or not. Because you don't realize how many of these goods are moving every day.
So you're advertising before you know if the thing that you're selling is legit, is what you're telling me.
No, sometimes people send. We don't think the people sending us a fake certificate. Sometimes it happens. Out of how many of the let's talk about how much PPE I've delivered. Millions of masks, sanitizers, coveralls, hands, gloves to people, to governments, to hospitals, to old age homes in times of their need. You don't want to talk about that.
No, I just haven't been able to verify it. I mean,
so I told you to verify. I said to you to verify. I sent you contracts. I sent you signed invoices. If you want, I send you. You can, you want to verify now? I'll call somebody now. You can call any of the numbers I sent you right now. Let's see if they answer.
The problem is this. You can sell a lot of stuff, and if it's not legit, that's a problem.
No, do you think? Ask them. Why would they come back to me? No, listen. I'm talking about buyers who have bought from me for $100,000 in the range. I delivered. They were happy. They came back a second time for $1 million plus range. And then they came back. Now they're coming back to me for a deal which is much bigger. And this all is tracked and delivered. And do you think I would be getting these deals for these transactions if I was selling fake stuff? There's people going after people daily. This fake case, these accusations were made by Miguel and Noah because they have nothing better to do.
No, I'm the one who found they were fake. No. I'm the one who found the original source. And the other thing too is there's also these N99 masks from Audra Health that are not actually N99 masks. That's not an N99 mask that they're advertising. So it's like,
which one?
How can you
there's a lot of products. I'm a broker for Audra. Audra is not my company. I'm a broker. They sell me products. I sell them ahead.
But you just seem to keep showing up at the scene of the crime, and each time you're like, well, it wasn't really, I don't have any accountability.
Wait. Listen. I've been hundreds of companies. Do you think all 100 are going to be all clean and be very successful? No. There will be a few stuff that goes along the way.
There's a lot.
That's what happens when you. No, there's not. There's a lot of success. Let's be clear. There's a lot of success you verified. Also, it's not lies to absent 15. It's not. This stuff is not lie. There's a lot of stuff which went wrong, and there's people unhappy, and there's stuff. So again, yes, but Audra, I was always a broker. They sent me this. This is there. The proof is there. I sent you contracts of Audra. I didn't sign them. I'm not an authorized signatory. I'm not part of the company. I have 0% share in the company.
Are you willing to take an L on Audra Health Tech that they maybe didn't have the right certification.
I agree. They didn't have it. That I agree. That could have been done better.
I just want to see you take an L. I just want to see you admit, hey, there's some things shady going on here.
No, I don't agree there's something shady. I agree that process could have been done better in the way they should have tested the certificate from every broker before coming. But at the times like this, where we are responsible for getting so many goods to people in need, you can't check everything that comes to you. You just cannot. It's just, we have teams in place. I can't check what my team is doing if they haven't done the proper job at this time. I have to be dependent on some people. I'm a one man. I can't also make the brochures, also the suppliers, also check the certificates, also up to the buyer, also the shipping company. I can't do everything on the process.
I mean, I think a bare minimum is. I think the bare minimum is making sure that when you're selling coronavirus gear, it's not.
Nothing is being sold before verified. I'm not going to be put.
But again, not advertising it either.
I am not. People send me. Okay, I posted on my Instagram a link of all the stuff that we're selling that was pre-populated from address people, right? Pre-populated. Something comes. A lot of people saw it. Thousands of people went on that Google Excel sheet. They saw the product. We got a lot of queries. We talked to a lot of people. Obviously, there was mistakes made where something was published where the broker certificates were not right. That's fine. We agree. Okay, that could have been done better. We're doing it better now. Now we're doing it a lot better. Now we don't do anything advance payment. I've lost money with brokers where I paid suppliers. They didn't deliver the goods.
I feel like this is going to also go in circles. So let's move on. There's one last topic I want to touch. And this topic might be, I don't know what you want to call it. But it's kind of like, I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, I want to be polite here, but kind of behavior that suggests that maybe you're calibrating at a strange level. That's like you're way too, the ego is too big or something. So there's a bunch of screenshots that have been gotten out that you're claiming that you like control presidents, that you know Trump, that you know Nicki Minaj. And these things they seem like delusional behavior. And do you want to comment on those?
Yes. Okay. I'm
Okay.
happy to comment. This is delusional behavior from a delusional guy, Noah. These screenshots on Scam Reveals, this guy, these are fake screenshots. He's made up so much shit about me. He's made up all this COVID testing kits. All this stuff is made up about him because he's directly
No, but the
blackmailed me.
COVID test isn't made up. That's real. I mean, you really
No,
did.
no, not this. No, not this certificate stuff. People posted stuff about me selling fake stuff about COVID before, right? On this Ballers Buster page. They posted stuff. That's what I'm talking about. That's all the acquisitions were made by Noah. Maybe this certificate you found. That's okay. I'm agreeing that could be wrong. What I'm saying is before,
It was the
Noah
same
has made
stuff.
up all
It was,
this shit
it was
about.
basically the same stuff, though, that Baller Busters posted is just what I confirmed with finding out where the certificate was fake.
So exactly. So there's all this. Noah is making up a lot of this fake stuff about me, all these fake screenshots because he owes me money.
I don't
The
see
contract
I
is
don't
made
see. I don't see that it's fake, though.
No, it's screenshots. He sent fake. I'm telling you, I sent you. He directly blackmailed me. He said, if you cancel my contract, if you let me go for this money, I'll delete all of this. This was his play. And I sent you a contract which you can call the Swiss notary, a government entity, Switzerland government. They will verify to you how much he owes me. They will verify to you. He owes me. He's doing a blackmail play. He's delusional. He's trying to blackmail me to get out of paying what he owes me. My hands were tied because the contract could only be enforced after May 1st, 2020. And now that COVID has ended, it's still there. I mean, now that the contract's enforceable, I can go and enforce it.
When I see things like this, Evan Luthra saying, I just met with Mike Pompeo in my last trip to New York, next seeing Trump soon, and you are the top of my agenda. I just see somebody who would also say that they're mentored by Steve Jobs, though.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, though. No, but that's what I'm saying. He tries to go around things which are relevant and that's the point, misinformation. Okay, buddy, if today I go post screenshots on Yahoo about you saying something, would you believe it? I can do that. No. I can do that, right? So that's the thing. So you are now believing what a delusional guy who owes me money on contract, trying to blackmail.
But
it's very clear.
Hold on. Let me explain, though. There's a pattern of sort of delusional behavior going on here that you
No,
built
no,
an
no.
app at
A delusional
13.
guy has created
Hold on,
that pattern.
hold on, let me
He has created that misinformation.
Let me finish.
That delusional guy has
Let me
created
finish. That you're mentored by Steve Jobs when in fact you absolutely were not. The one phone call
we
that
cleared
you're claiming,
that. That was a different mentor. Okay.
No, you
okay,
didn't.
let's not
You
go
didn't
back there.
prove the
Let's not
phone
go back
call.
there.
And then also from other sources, I have similar delusional behavior going on with a screenshot that says.
Please tell me your sources. No, but screenshots.
A screenshot that says Nicki Minaj will tell her 100 million plus followers later this week to go follow me. That's another 100K.
Oh my God! I announced this on my story. I announced this on my Instagram story. I paid Nicki Minaj $13,000 to do an Instagram promotion. This was on my story. He used that to make it into a screenshot. This was public news. Everybody knows Nicki Minaj, Cardi B did a giveaway where they told people to go follow me. It was already done. It was on my. They used this news to create all this stuff, and he posted on this page. It's a misinformation campaign. Constantly to get out of a contract that you can verify now. He owes me $200,000.
This wasn't done by this hater or whatever. This wasn't sent by a hater.
No, it was done by him. These screenshots are on his scam reveals page. He runs that page. It's in the bio. These screenshots where you're talking, that's where I saw them. No, if you go there, this is where he posts all these fake screenshots, and maybe other people get from there then repost it.
I believe it's actually from. I believe it's from a Jet Smarter group. Maybe I think.
Jet Smarter group? I am part of one Jet Smarter group. Nothing like that ever been posted there. Okay. We can go in right now.
Okay. I don't know who it's from.
Okay, so there you go. So again, there's no source vetting. You don't know where it's from, and you're believing a screenshot.
No, but you say Nicki Minaj. You're saying Nicki Minaj really did tell her 100 million
I didn't
followers.
say that. I posted on my story that Nicki Minaj is shouting me out, and then somebody made a screenshot based on that, and Nicki Minaj did, and then so did Cardi B. Like, this is normal. I did something. And people, that's the whole thing that's happening here. You don't see that. People are turning things around, which I am not doing. They're turning things around what I'm actually doing.
But again, it's you consistently showing up at the scene of the crime. You're also saying that the person who said you created 30 apps by the time you were 15 was also also lying.
Let's go back to the point you're talking. No. You're changing.
But no. I'm saying over and over again. You're saying, oh no, that's not the right information. No, that's not the right information. This is made up.
No, but
this
the
is a hater. This is a mistake. At what point is
I'm
it
not
just
saying
you?
This is no, these people are creating, there's stuff happening. Nicki Minaj did give me a shout out. Cardi B did give me a shout out. I posted about this on my story. If somebody goes and make a fake screenshot saying Nicki Minaj is going to give me followers or what, the content is not fake. How he made it sound is fake.
Do you know Trump though?
Right?
Is that fake? Is that fake?
Yes, it's fake. It's fake. How do I know Trump? I would love to know him. I do not know him. If I knew him, I would be doing a lot better deals. I would be in a lot better place. I think I would where I am right now. I do not know Trump on a first. I don't know him like that.
You might have been mentored by him, sort of though, spiritually, like from like a.
No, I mean, see, if you want to go in the bullshit way, I can. That's not the point. I didn't say those things. That's what I'm saying. The things that I've said and things you can verify, which I wish you'd made a better attempt. You could have done it, but you haven't done it. So there's things, and this Nicki Minaj stuff, this Cardi B stuff actually happened. If somebody went and made fake screenshots saying I boasted about it in a different way, then that's different. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. That's not me doing it. So you got to see it from my perspective too. And trust me, if Noah had so much time to create and run a page for so many months, it's a constant effort to get out of paying me the money. He could have gone to court. He didn't. He kept running this page on social media, creating this bullshit one after another, so that I let his loan go. If today I accept, it's not about the money anymore. If today I accept from him, then you don't have to pay me the loan. I've lost.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. It goes back, and we're going to have to start wrapping up here because it goes back to the tale of two Evan Luthras here. The problem is as I said, there are two stories going on. And if everything else in your background, checks out, you really did publish your first app when you were 13 years old. If you really did, create 30 apps by the time you were 15, I could much easier believe like, oh yeah, just one guy doesn't like the guy. One guy's posting crap about it.
Okay, let me put my perspective to this. Let me put my perspective to this, right?
Okay.
There's two Evans. I agree in the media. This media is manufactured, right? There's two Evans in the media floating around. One is what I did, what I said. There's one which the media said, what the media is saying. This two Evans was not created by me. And then there's in the middle this guy Noah coming and saying stuff about me. So there's a lot of misinformation.
No,
now.
you're controlling what the media says about
let me
you.
complete. Let me complete. I mean, there's a lot of stuff which is up to you what you want to believe, and there's a lot of stuff which is up to you which you want to believe, right? There's two different kind of stuff. You can decide what you want to believe in. To me, at this point, it's not affecting me, and I can't be putting in effort and time to separate or fix that image because I didn't create it. It served the media. I was a tool for the media. No. Okay, listen, my TV show, the Rich Kids of Instagram TV show I did, they made a lot of money from it. They put it out everywhere. It was TRP, right? They put it in 20 airlines. They made a lot of money from it, a lot of money. 20 plus airlines paid them money to put that show. For the media, I was a tool. Same thing happened with Google. I should give you the example where they used me. And because of that, I had benefits in my life. I was a tool used by the media. I had benefits. And today I have problems where the media is not proving detrimental to me. But I don't have the control of the media. I can't control it where I can remove stuff that's there. But it doesn't affect me today. People who want to work with me, who want to do business with me, they have the decision. It's their control. They can decide what they want to do. Do your research. I'm very good. I'm in a very good place.
But a lot of the press about you is basically manufactured, and then the press that doesn't seem to be manufactured does seem to have some merit to it, and so it's like, what? No.
Where's the merit?
I think if you owned up to, like, for example, lying about the Steve Jobs call, it would be much more understandable that you're a young kid wanting to make a name for yourself.
Guy. Okay. Listen, Forbes. All these people, they're not. You can buy art content on Forbes. Yeah. I'm not denying that. You can buy. I write for Forbes myself, right? I've written articles.
You pay for it.
Yeah, but you can't Forbes will not make you a member of the Forbes Technology Council until they vet your company has had the success to be a member of the council. So they vet you.
I've seen a lot of Forbes.
Listen.
Forbes
okay,
that's
one example. So you're telling me this random kid, his words are more, he's a better journalist than these media companies that have been out there? I'm not denying you can't buy stuff.
What random kid are you talking about? This is my stuff.
This stuff that you're talking about in the media, right? The stuff that you're saying.
The things that are factually incorrect and provably wrong.
Yes,
that
but I
you've
didn't
said.
publish that. No, but that's what I'm saying. That was misinformation. There was misinformation. That's what I'm coming to. See, the point is, I can't clean the media today. It's not possible. That misinformation will be there forever.
When you say on your Instagram that rich people think differently than the average person, and my former mentor, Steve Jobs, was no exception. When you put that on your page, that's you controlling your own narrative and lying. Because you were never mentored by Steve Jobs.
And I told you my narrative when we started this call, and now we agreed to disagree on how we looked at it.
Well,
so
no. Also, the narrative is the recording of you saying that you were not mentored by Steve Jobs and that you never said that. You quote, never said that. How can you say on a call, I never said that I was mentored by Steve Jobs, and then also be on the record saying that?
You're forgetting the point. Like I said,
I never
I'm in a
said
much
Steve
different
Jobs
position than you. You said that before on your call. You're not done the same. I'm saying I'm in so many places doing so many deals where I may have said something on a caption. You can't hold me for a caption. The truth is, I did a call with him. I built some of the best apps for his app store. At the age of 15, they were top 3 apps, the number one, the highest downloaded in the categories, and they had tons and tons of users. That's the truth. Now, if there's stuff around that, go do your research. Don't want to work with me? That's your choice. The people who work with me, they're very happy. They all made a lot of money. The people who are working with me, there's a lot of people who made a lot of money. And the people who didn't make money, it's because their fault, not my fault.
Why do you think Steve Jobs called you? Why do you think Steve Jobs called you? Just reflecting.
I just told you because he wanted feedback on the App Store. It was a very normal call for somebody at that time to make.
But the App Store wasn't new, though. There were hundreds of thousands of apps that already existed by 2010.
But not how many of those apps were at the position my apps were. My apps were featured by Apple, new and noteworthy. Not once, not twice, more than 3 times.
You know Steve Jobs was almost on his deathbed when you published your first app, right?
Buddy, see, I can't prove that. I'm not going to. No. Okay, if your goal here is to decreditize that story, there's no way to prove that. You can't put any proof up that's going to say it's not there. I can't put any proof of that says it's going to be there.
It just doesn't make sense. This guy who died literally a year after you published your first app is calling you?
A lot of things that don't make sense to you. It doesn't make sense to me why protests are happening in the U.S. Well, police brutality. In India, people get beaten up. So there's more people in India than the U.S. Things that don't make sense to you, Not all things are going to make sense. It's a different thing. So please, let's not think you're Steve Jobs, right? I don't want to argue about this because you can't prove it. You're thinking for Steve Jobs. You're thinking what he would have done as if it's you.
No, but your story is provably false.
Okay,
anyway.
buddy, let's see. I told you before on your email yesterday when you reached out, I can't prove the Steve Jobs call, but I did prove to you Google, which is equally successful company, the country heads coming up on stage and using me and asking if talking about my ass. You want to believe that? Look, listen, let me finish. My readers want to believe, your viewers want to believe that. They can believe the country head of Google India, or they can believe anybody else they want to believe. That's up to them. There's examples, there's stuff that can be proven, the stuff 10 years in the past which can be proven. Let's not argue about what can and what cannot be.
We're not arguing. We're just talking about where you've lied, and I wish you would just come up and say you lied, and I'd be okay.
But that's where you're arguing. I'm telling you I didn't lie about the call, and you're saying I have. So there's no
we agree to disagree, but I'm saying
like
that in the two stories, I'm leaning on the one side because you can't.
You have the right to your opinion, my friend. You have the right to your opinion. You keep that. I keep mine. We talk about what can be proven, and that's it. If there are people saying I lied about Steve Jobs, let them go and say it. It's fine to me. It's not affecting me today because I can't control what people say. If some people want to go say something, they will say it. I can't control that. The misinformation. How do you go watch the Netflix documentary, The Great Hack? How do you think Donald Trump is president? Media manipulation. People say so much shit in the media that's not true that the Donald Trump is president. He basically manipulated people. The documentary is very eye-opening for people to see how they're manipulated with the media. It's a great way to understand that. But see, I can't prove the call. I've proven what I can prove. It's in front of you. The readers have that. I think this. I have a call in 4 minutes. I have to end this. The people, your audience has a decision. They can make what they decide is true or not. They have the facts. You have the facts. You if you want, you can post everything. You decided to pick and choose and post what you wanted. Why don't you post all the emails I sent you for proof? Obviously, out of respect to the people, blurring out the numbers, but they can see it. Then they will decide who they want to believe. It's very true. Everybody has a decision to decide what they want to believe. They have the ability to do the research, go into the details of what they want to believe. They have the ability to do that research if they really want to do it. Most people who do business, most people who are buying, people who are dealing with $1 million deals, they're not signing a contract based on media, my friend. They're going into the details of what I've done in the past. They're doing research.
I really don't mean to cut you off, but we're going on too long. Can I just ask you this? How much money did you get from your father when you started, and do you consider him the reason that you're successful?
I will end this in a way that I didn't get any money from him. I didn't need any money at the beginning. Like I said, I didn't need any money because I built apps for myself and I sold my first app myself. But I used I started when my father had a call center that failed. My story started with one of his failures. There was computers lying around, and that's how I started. I didn't need any money from him to go and do something. Let's look at it this way. There's 2 billion people in the world at least who started off worse than me. At least 2 billion worse than me. But there's at least 1 billion people, including yourself, who started off with better surroundings in a better place. When I was born, my father had not even a cycle, not even a bicycle, not even a car. When I was 10 years old, my father bought his first motorcycle. Before that, he had no car, no money. All this is proven. So I didn't need money from him.
Is it proven though?
And yes, you can check that, man. You can check that.
Some of the things you're saying are proven or not proven, buddy.
You can, check this, please. Check this after the call. Check it after the call. I'm thankful. I am where I am because of my father. I'm never going to just say that I am anywhere without him. If it was not because of him, I would not be where I am.
But he didn't give you any
today.
money. That's the point.
He didn't give me money. I didn't need money. I didn't need money to build apps.
You guys heard it here first.
I didn't need any money because I built apps and I got a good success there.
I'm glad to get the scoop. I think I saw on a documentary that you got a loan from your father, but maybe they were wrong. So
maybe they were wrong. There you go.
There's another case of the media getting it wrong. Evan, thank you for coming on.
Okay, the documentaries, they have got so much stuff wrong. They have come and filmed me in my offices and cut and said stuff to make TRP. I have had documentaries for biggest television networks, and they changed the stuff to make it sell. They made it look like I'm a playboy. Like the first documentary I did, they made me look like a playboy, that I'm not working, that I didn't have any success. So because it served them. I'm not denying that. I enjoy the spoils of my success.
Actually, I have one more.
These documentaries.
I thought of one more question.
Change stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. I have one more question.
But bro, I have 1 minute. I gotta go.
Do you sign checks while drunk on the super clubs?
Not 100%. I've made some of the best investments in nightclubs. When you go to a nightclub like me and get a table for 10 grand, the guy next to you is also getting a table for 10 grand, and the guy on the other side.
But do you
So
sign
you build
contracts? Do you sign
relationships.
virtual contracts
Yes,
balling
I've
and
signed
drunk?
napkin contracts. Yes, I've signed contracts with people in the clubs, and those investments have gone on to become really successful.
Good for you, man.
They've gone on to become really successful.
Well,
and this is true.
Hey,
this has been great success for me.
Thanks.
I've met. You have to remember, the guy in the club who's spending 10K is not coming.
I gotta cut you off. I love you. We can talk forever. Listen, thanks for coming on the show. I hope people have learned a lot. They can go do their own research, find what's true, what isn't. Hopefully, we got some of it out today. Evan, thanks for coming on, getting the hot seat. I'm sure.
Well, appreciate you coming on, and congrats to you. You had the courage to speak up. And hopefully people who watch this, they make their own decisions. We go from there. I wish everyone the best, and thank you for your time, mate. Have a good day.
All right. See ya.
Take care.